Sabres on 30 blue, 22 white, 3 wide.
Satellite is up, and we've got a switch. Got it.
Buffalo, this remote, stand by.
Mic check.
Compensate. Stand by and out.
This is the Sabres Station. WGRZ TV2, Buffalo. Tonight from the Civic Arena in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, the Buffalo Sabres meet the Pittsburgh Penguins. This portion of Buffalo Sabres hockey is brought to you by Carling O'Keefe, bringing the sports world home to you. And by your Good Neighbor Chevy dealers. Discover the new world of today's Chevy at your Good Neighbor Chevrolet dealers. Dealers you can lean on.
They've given you the advantage and only moments to make it count. There's no second best for you in the game you play or the beer you choose.
That's why you just say O-B for that great tasting beer. O-B, O-B, oh yeah, you just say O-B.
Good evening from the Civic Arena in Pittsburgh. Tonight, the Buffalo Sabres meet the Pittsburgh Penguins for the third time this season. They're still looking for their first victory over a vastly improved Pittsburgh team. Hello again, everybody. Ed Kilgore, along with Jim Lorentz and Ted Darling, they're standing by upstairs. The Sabres have a big job tonight. There's one guy they're really going to be concentrating on stopping. He wears number 66. He is Mario Lemieux, who's with me. And Mario, I know there comes a price for being a standout in the National Hockey League. Certainly, you haven't had a sophomore jinx. What are some of the tactics people use against you that are a little bit maybe annoying?
You know, it's tough when you play against a team that puts a checking line on you, and especially the teams that put a guy man on me, and we have to do different things to get around that, but you know, that's when I have to keep my concentration to stay in the game, because they try to do a lot of things to get me off my game.
Pittsburgh has been playing very, very well at home, and I know it has to be a good feeling for you to see more fans coming into the building. The franchise was struggling a little bit when you got here.
That's true. We have a better team this year. Last year we didn't have a very good team. We had some old guys that didn't want to win really, and this year we made 10 changes. We have 10 newcomers this year with the team, and it's a lot more fun to play now. We have a better defense this year, 2 good goalies, and some player that wants to win.
All right, Mario, best of luck tonight.
Thank you.
And now Jim Lorentz brings us up to date on what has happened since last we saw you here on TV2.
Ed, the star of the game was Dean Evison. He scored 2 goals and 2 assists, including a shorthanded tally. The New York Islanders come to town. Doug Smith scores what proves to be the winning goal in the first period. Phil Housley is spectacular, recording 3 assists in that first period. Against the Capitals, Mike Ramsey scores the winning goal in the second period. Paul Sear records a goal and an assist, and John Tucker adds 2 assists. Now look at the Adams division. Montreal on top, but look at Quebec, Boston, and Buffalo. Buffalo with 61 games. They have 2 games in hand in the Quebec Nordique, and they trail them by just 6 points. The 2 teams meet in a home-and-home series starting Friday at the Odd.
Streaming, who's brought stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night
The officials for tonight's game, the referee Ron Hogarth and the linesmen Mark Vines and Dan Shakti. Starting in goal tonight for the Buffalo Sabres, Tom Barrasso with a 3.38 goals against average, playing in his 49th game of the season. He's won 24, lost 17, and tied 5. At the other end of the ice is Roberto Romano. They continue to rotate in goal for the Penguins. Romano playing in his 36th game. He's won 18, lost 13, and tied 3. Has 2 shutouts for the 3.20 goals against average. And here we go, the third and final meeting of the season between the two teams. Pittsburgh and Buffalo playing to a 3-all tie here earlier. The Penguins defeating Buffalo 3-1 in Buffalo. And the play's underway as it's cleared into the Buffalo zone. Richie Dunn is not in the lineup tonight for Buffalo. There's the pass, comes off the boards, taken by Doug Smith. Works his way to the line. The pass cleared by Sear into the Pittsburgh zone. Mantha up on the right side, and it's cleared into Buffalo territory. Knocked away by Barrasso over the blue line. Now tipped back into the Sabres zone. Mike Ramsey in to pick it off for Buffalo. Now sends it to Engblom up on the left side, intercepted by Lemieux. The pass to Bruskowski. He is checked, and coming up with it is Smith. Shoots it into the Pittsburgh zone. Romano tried to block it. Here's the pass. Comes back to the point. Tipped by Bruskowski over the blue line. And coming up with it now is Lemieux into the Buffalo zone. Goes to the corner boards, and now taken by Frawley. One hands it for Lemieux. Did not see it. Frawley chases it into the corner. Comes up with it. Sends it back in behind the net. Here's Lemieux. Slapped away now by Housley. He starts to bring it back for Buffalo. Up over the line. Flipped it to center. Johnson comes right back for the Penguins. Here they come into the Buffalo zone. Lemieux shooting right on. Barrasso grabs that and holds on. That will force a face-off in the Buffalo zone.
Other games tonight. Minnesota is at Hartford, Montreal at Vancouver. The Islanders visit New Jersey, and Edmonton plays at Winnipeg.
Tom Barrasso makes the first stop of the hockey game off of Mario Lemieux, and it resulted because of a bad line change by the Buffalo Sabres. That line of Foligno, Smith, and Sear going to the bench as the play was going into your own end, Ted, and that's a no-no. That's something you can't do. Ideally, what you want the play to be going back the other way. The Sabres very nearly got burned on it.
Face off of the Buffalo zone. Height getting it off the boards. Up on the left wing. Now the pass to Tucker from Andrzejczyk. Comes to the Pittsburgh line on the right side. Had it knocked off his stick. Taken by number 32, Dave Hannon. But Tucker now sends it in. Comes over the line, John Chabot. Stopped by Height. Now recovered by Tucker. No score. Opening minutes here of the first period at the Pittsburgh Civic Arena. Now Tucker to the line with a long shot, but off the ankle of Johnson and in behind the Pittsburgh net. Schmidt working it off the corner boards, intercepted by Tucker, then he lost it. Down the left side comes Hannon. He flipped it into the Buffalo zone. Pittsburgh making a player change. Played by Andrzejczyk to center. Bo Mantha. Now giving it to Randy Cunningham. Cunningham sends it in wide of the Buffalo net. Engblom comes up with it now for Buffalo. He starts to bring it back. Watched by Bullard. The pass up on the left side. Cleared right back to the Buffalo line. Ramsey, the quick pass to the line to Foligno. He's checked. Loose puck. Cleared away up on the left side. Cunningham. And now Perro is on for Buffalo. Working with Foligno and Rupp. And here's Foligno. Then he lost it. Goes to the ice, and Bantha up on that right side. Up it comes to Cunningham. In now to the Buffalo zone against Ramsey. The shot right on Barrasso. The save on that short side. Foligno looks to the far left for a breaking Lindy Ruff, but it's stopped to the Pittsburgh blue line. Cunningham chases it, and they get a whistle. No score, first period. You're watching Buffalo Sabres hockey.
Somehow you've got to keep it alive, no matter what the cost, because there's no second best for you in the game you play or the beer you choose.
That's why you just say OB for that great taste in beer. OB, OB, oh yeah, you just say OB.
Gilbert Perreault, 498 goals, continues to go for that 500 goal mark. His last goal 5 games ago in a 3-3 tie against Calgary.
And Scotty has him back playing center ice between Mike Foligno and Lindy Ruff. That line was very successful early in the season.
No score, first period action. Perreault back at his own blue line. Gives it to Housley. off the board. Now for Perreault at center. He turns away from Simpson. Will try it again. This time shoots it in to the corner boards into the Pittsburgh zone. Buskus in behind the net. Around for Troy Loney. Comes back to the right point to Housley. The shot went off the leg. Going after it, Brodie on the right side. Up now to the Buffalo line. He left it there. There's a pass in front to Loney. And it goes over the glass and into the crowd here at the Civic Arena in Pittsburgh.
Now Troy Loney with an excellent play in front of the net, as Pittsburgh broke in 3-on-2 on Tom Barrasso, and he just tipped it up over the glass. As we look at the play developed just outside the Buffalo line, watch in front of the net now. Loney just tipping the puck up over the glass. But Barrasso, from up here anyways, Ted, looked as if he had that one well covered. But the Sabres continue to play that good, tight, close-checking game. And I think the last 2 games, Ted, that 5-1 victory against the New York Islanders and then 4-1 the last game against the Washington Capitals, maybe the 2 best back-to-back games that they have played all season.
Mike Ramsey up to the line. His pass now for Scheer at center. Sends it off a skate into the Pittsburgh zone. It's slapped back over the line. Ramsey waits now for Smith to come onside. Wraps it in behind the net. Kicked out by Sealing. Now Sealing has control. The shot, but it's blown. He lost it. Dropped to the side of the net, right into the glove of Romano. There's a drop. Here Sear goes after it. There to back to the left point. England did not keep it in at the Pittsburgh blue line. And the Pittsburgh Penguins are coming off a 6-5 victory over the Los Angeles Kings the other night, an overtime win. As you look at a former Los Angeles King, Brian Ingram, in the last 9, the Penguins have won 7, lost 1, and tied 1.
Well, Rick Sealing it appears as if he crossed up Romano. Now look, he doesn't know where the puck is, as it looks as if he gets a piece of it, and then he loses sight of it, and the puck just lays beside the net. The Sabres coming close.
No score. 4 minutes have gone by in period number 1.
That might be an indication, Ted, that Romano might be a little bit shaky here. What you might want to do now is just fire the puck at him from everywhere.
Now Ruskowski turns back into his own zone. The pass to Lemieux. He feeds it on the left side to Shedden. Back to Lemieux. Oh, he dropped it back to Ruskowski. Now to the far side. The shot. Barrasso doing the splits. And it comes back to center. The fans are buzzing on that play by Lemieux a moment ago.
Now he is so great with the puck, and you see Mike Ramsey just didn't even worry where the puck was. He just picked up Lemieux in his own zone.
Here's Shedden with a drive that goes wide. Lemieux picked up 3 assists in that 6-5 overtime win over the Kings the other night. Ramsey into the corner, clears it now. England behind the net. Around the board, giving it to Andrzejczyk. He clears it to center. Johnson takes over for Pittsburgh, left it for Ruskowski. Now to Schmidt, right onto the stick of Andrzejczyk. Steps into the Pittsburgh zone with the shot off the glass. Comes around now to Housley. He tries to keep it in for Buffalo. Here's Lemieux attempting to clear it. Comes right back to him. Steps over the Pittsburgh line. With those long strides, comes to the Buffalo blue line, shooting it in. Now Pittsburgh will make a player change. Lemieux goes to the bench. Still no score. Andrzejczyk back at center. Now fires it into the Pittsburgh zone. Now Buffalo will make a change. Into the corner, Bullard gets it behind the net for Mantha. Up to the line, the pass to Cunnyworth. Here he comes, gives it to Bullard. Breaking through the circle, going right in and goal! Barrasso, the save on Bullard. And now Perreault comes up with it. Gilbert Perreault back on the ice. Here he comes, steps away from one. The pass, he tries to send a Foligno, and it's an offside call. No score, first period from the Civic Arena in Pittsburgh. You're watching Buffalo Sabres hockey.
Chevrolet announces 7.9% financing. Now is your best chance ever to save big bucks on a new Chevy car or truck. Get 7.9% financing at your Good Neighbor Chevy dealers. Save over $600 on Cavalier, over $700 on Nova and El Camino. Save $800 on Celebrities and C10 pickups, over $1,000 on the heavy-duty K10. Your Good Neighbor Chevy dealers are loaded with new cars and trucks, so come and load up on savings. Get 7.9% financing at your Good Neighbor Chevy dealers.
Now Mike Bullard with an excellent chance on Barrasso. The Buffalo goaltender just out to challenge, as Bullard was able to get a couple of steps on Phil Housley and just roar in on that left side.
14-17 left to play in the first period. Still no score. Puck comes back into the Buffalo zone. Barrasso plays it behind the net. Waiting for it to Paul Sear. He gives it to Smith. Comes back now with Alkidis on his right. Into the Pittsburgh zone. The pass in front of net cleared. Now the Penguins try to control it. It's tipped ahead to Blaisdell, to Cunnyworth. Blaisdell races toward the net. Cunnyworth let the shot go, but he broke a stick on the drive. Comes around now to Sear. He left it for a rushing Doug Smith up to center, and his long slap shot gloved by Roberto Romano. Up on the right side. Now Blaisdell sends it over the line. Roy Loney comes back to the Buffalo blue line, trying to work in on goal. He's checked by Ramsey. They go to the corner boards. Loney tied up by Ramsey. Now Loney trying to move it along the boards, attempting to kick at it, gives it to Bullard. He's hit from behind by Halkitis. Now Bullard finally comes up with it. He's tripped up into the back of the net. The fans want a penalty. The arm is still down, and Ron Hogarth into the corner now. Loney still battling now with Ramsey again. Slides it back in behind the net to Bullard. Tied up by Englum. They go to the board. Sear comes up with it. He fires at the center where it's gloved down by Bodger. Backs up into his own zone. Up in the right side to Buskin. Shoots it in. High and wide of the Buffalo net. Loney knocking it back in behind the net. Here's Simpson with it now for Pittsburgh. Trying to get it in front of the net. A backhand flip shot for Rasso. Goes down. He's on his... Almost went to his back. Now there's a whistle. Looks like a penalty coming up. And with the score, Buffalo nothing, Pittsburgh nothing. You're watching Buffalo save.
Goalie's already the glamour guys of hockey.
We got it all.
Good looks, good taste.
We even drink Miller Lite.
Light is brewed right here in Canada.
And we like it because it tastes great.
No, we like it because it tastes less filling.
Tastes great.
Tastes less filling.
Tastes great.
Tastes less filling.
Hey, wait, we better stop this.
Yeah, we don't want to take a chance at hurting our good looks.
No, you said.
Light beer from Miller, now brewed in Canada. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
Now Mike Ramsey goes to the penalty box for holding. You watch in front of the net. He just upsets. I think that was Craig Simpson in the goal crease area as the Penguins coming very close. And I think what's happening, Ted, too, this rink is, I think, the biggest rink in the National Hockey League. The Sabres, of course, used to playing at the odd. There's a little bit more ice out there. But I think it's going to take them a period or so to readjust their game to the size of the ice surface. And in the last 2 or 3 minutes, Pittsburgh, that is, have really been putting the pressure on.
Ramsey for holding at 7:19. Penguins on the power play. Back now to Bodger. He sends it into Lemieux. Fakes the shot. Back to Bodger. He shoots right on. Barras with a save. The rebound sitting there. And Sealing comes away with him out. Up to center. Sends it off the boards into the Pittsburgh zone. And slaps it in behind the Pittsburgh net. Now the Penguins will try again here with this extra man. Bodger coming slowly up to the blue line for Lemieux. Out goes to Briskowski into the corner behind the net. Shedden tried to get, and the net has been knocked off the magnets. Say, a reminder, you can go to the phone right now and order tickets for Sabres remaining home games by calling 856-7300, and you can use your MasterCard, Visa, or American Express. Ticket personnel standing by right through to the end of the game. Deadline for picking up your playoff tickets, March the 14th by mail, March the 21st by coming down to the odd ticket office.
Now Pittsburgh with a good chance, but watch in front of the net. Watch Dave Fenves right here just take out number 8 Briskowski. A great job in front of the net by the Buffalo defense, and the Sabres Sealing just picked up the puck and cleared it back down. But that's what you want your defense to do. If you see anybody standing around, you have to knock them down.
1:30 left in the penalty now to Ramsey as the puck comes back over the blue line. Bodger watched by Sealing. Now gives it to Mantha. It's taken by Ruff. Here he comes with the drive right on. And the save there by Romano. Now Lemieux's pass up on the right side to Shedden. Comes in over the Buffalo blue line. Tried to get the shot. Got it away. It went wide. He'll come back to the left point, but cleared by Sealing to center. Mantha with 1 minute now remaining in the Pittsburgh penalty. Or the power play, rather. Mantha slides it over to Bodger. At center up to Briskowski. His pass went behind Shedden. And it's an offside call. The Buffalo blue line with 50 seconds now remaining. As you look at it, Doug Shedden, and he's picked up 31 goals so far.
Well, he scored 35 goals last year, 32 assists for 67 points. He was a 5th-round choice, 93rd overall in 1980 for the Pittsburgh Penguins from Wallaceburg, Ontario. Played his junior for the Kitchener Rangers and the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds. And one of the things about Shedden is the fact that he was their highest scoring left winger last year, but he was also their worst plus-minus. As a matter of fact, in the entire NHL, he was minus 51.
Brasso leaving it behind the net for Height, getting it off the boards over the line to center. Schmidt at his own blue line. Pittsburgh still working on the power play. There's no score in the first period. cleared into the Buffalo zone. Now waiting for it, Lemieux. Into the corner, along the boards. He sends it back to the right point. Johnson has to get over quickly now to keep it in for Pittsburgh, and he just sent it over the glass and into the crowd. Mentioned earlier, Richie Dunn is not in the lineup tonight. Dave Fenfus, take a look at Dave. But Jody Gage is playing in his second game, although he has not been on the ice as yet. But Gage called up from Rochester, a native of Toronto, and for 35 goals down in Rochester. But I'm sure we'll see him before the night's over, Jim. Well, there's a sign welcoming Channel 2, and of course we'd like to welcome again our television network, Channel 31 in Rochester.
You always see a great number of Sabre fans anytime you come to Pittsburgh, of course, because of its proximity to Buffalo. But there are a lot of fans. There were a lot of fans around the hotel today, and they were looking forward to tonight's game.
18 seconds left in the Pittsburgh power play. So far, Buffalo doing a fine job as Boncher goes back after it. Final rush before the Sabres come back to full strength. And here comes Lemieux. Gives it to Bullard. Lemieux shooting right on the rebound. He hit the side of the net. Frawley put it off the side of the net on the rebound. Bullard sends it in, but it's intercepted as Mike Ramsey steps back onto the ice. And Buffalo returns to full strength. Now Bullard at center, clearing it off the boards. In behind the net, Engblom round the boards, but Lemieux, quick shot, he scores! Mario Lemieux, and I believe that went off Phil Housley, as Lemieux, the second leading scorer in the National Hockey League, records his 39th goal of the year. And I believe, Jim, it did go off Housley. Let's look at it again.
Well, it did. Brian Engblom just gave the puck away around the boards, and you see Lemieux just turn and fire it to the front of the net. And it was Phil Housley. It's one of those things. It's just a natural reaction to move your stick to try and knock down the puck. It hit his stick and went in behind a very surprised Tom Barrasso. And Mario Lemieux makes it Pittsburgh 1, Buffalo no score. For Lemieux, number 39.
Now the puck back into the Pittsburgh zone. Schmidt into the corner. Tucker behind the net. He is checked. Now they go to the corner boards. Comes around. Gage is now on for Buffalo. He's wearing number 12. Jody Gage, number 12. Don Lever, Norm Lacombe out of the lineup with injuries. Gage being called up from Rochester. Mike Ramsey flipped it ahead to center. Too far for Tucker. Cleared back to the Buffalo line. Mike Ramsey up on the left side to Gage. Steps in over the Pittsburgh line. The pass over to Tucker. Came right through to Hannon. Hannon at center ice. Lost it to Andrichuk. He dropped to the back and gives it now to Ramsey. 1-0. Pittsburgh leading. Ramsey shooting it in now to the Pittsburgh zone, right over the glass and into the crowd. 1-0 Pittsburgh. You're watching Buffalo Sabres hockey.
America's most popular luxury car can be found at your good neighbor Chevy dealers. Caprice. Why does the new 86 Caprice have the plushness of a Cadillac? Why does it have the creature comfort of a Cadillac? Because it's built at a Cadillac plant. One thing different is the engine. It's more powerful than a Cadillac's. And 3 things tell you it's a Chevy: the nameplate, the price, and the deals at your good neighbor Chevy dealers. Pick up a luxurious deal today.
Well, as Jim mentioned, yes, there are some Sabres fans here in the Buffalo area. Happy birthday, Mike. That's to our director, Mike Vetter. And, well, he must be, what, around 40 by now?
Yeah, 45, I think. There are 45 candles in the cake today anyways.
Now Hannon comes back to center. Mantha clears it into the Buffalo zone. Housley in after it. Pittsburgh has a 1-0 lead on a goal by Mario Lemieux. The long pass too far for Foligno. Third to center. Height now trying to break it up. Chabot knocks it off the board. Now Housley clears it to center. Ruff is knocked down. Knocked down again. Foligno clears it ahead to Perro. Here he comes into the Pittsburgh zone. The pass over to Foligno. He tried to get it back to Ruff in front of the net. Puck into the corner now. Foligno out in front to Perro. And he tried to knock it down to get a shot. Unable to. It's kept in by Housley. Perro moves into the corner. Cleared by Siren to the far boards. Ruff is there. A bouncing puck. Foligno to Perro. Oh, and Perro took a swipe at it and just missed it with the blade of his stick as he looks for goal number 499.
Now, the problem there where that puck came out, Ted, it's so difficult to really pick it up well. And Perro just swung at it and missed. It just went right between his legs.
Around the boards. Here's Blaisdell. with Sear. Halkitis into the corner. Halkitis has been playing at a forward line the last couple of games. Bullard at center with Cuddyworth. Cuddyworth into the corner. The pass back for Bullard to the corner board. Sear now bumped into the board. Sear moves it just over the line. Cleared by Buskets back into Buffalo territory. 8:07 left to play here in this first period. A look at Bob Halkitis. 1 goal, 6 assists, but he's been up in the forward line. He hadn't dressed for 7 games. He's played in the last couple.
Now here's this play by Gilbert Perreault. You can't really see it from the replay, but the area where that puck comes across the goal crease, your view is somewhat obstructed, and that's what happened. Perreault with the open side, but just unable to connect on it.
Ramsey lost it. There's a chance again, but it's tipped away from Bullard by Barrasso, and the puck comes back into the Pittsburgh zone. Romano waiting for it. Decides to glove it, and there will be a face-off in the Pittsburgh zone. At home, the Penguins have lost just 1 of their last 12 games. As you look at Doug Smith.
Now Doug Smith playing very, very well for the Buffalo Sabres. Out there now at center between Bob Halkitis and Paul Sear. But Dougie Smith with 12 goals, 16 assists, 28 points. And his speed is much needed by the Buffalo Sabres, and we saw another example of that in the last game against the Washington Capitals. It resulted in a goal by Paul Sear, but it was Smith and his speed that made the play.
Since his arrival in Buffalo, the 4 goals that he's picked up for the Sabres, 2 of them have been game winners. Face off in the Pittsburgh zone. Smith at center against Bullard now. Here's Sear trying to get to it. He bumps with his check. Schmidt, they go to the boards. Now Smith into the corner. Trying to step away from Bullard. Halkitis with a shot that goes wide. They're starting to do some hitting here late in the first period as it's cleared back into the Buffalo zone. England moving in there. He's jammed to the boards and knocked down. Halkitis, he does some. Here's a chance for Cuddyworth. He scores!
Now they waved it up.
No goal. Indicated by Ron Hogarth that was gloved ahead. But Randy Cuddyworth thought for a moment that he had scored against his former teammates. Well, in the Sabres organization. Didn't play that much with the Sabres.
Now Ron Hogarth was right on top of the play, and he made that call immediately. As you see Jim Johnson over there questioning it. And it developed in behind the Buffalo net and then just came in front to Cuddyworth, and what Hogarth was signaling that it was a hand pass, Ted. So we'll have to wait and see if we can pick it up on the replay.
But apparently we don't have that area on the replay. Can't cover every inch of the ice, I guess.
Well, he definitely signaled hand pass, so obviously it must have been passed out in front, Ted, by the hand. So the faceoff back outside the Buffalo line. Mario Lemieux scoring tonight. It's the 3rd goal for Lemieux versus the Sabres this season. 1 in each game. And you run into the same problem with Mario that you run into with the Wayne Gretzky out in Edmonton. Lemieux plays so much, and obviously I don't think Scotty is going to try and put one particular player on him. He will just play it line by line, whatever line happens to be up, and everyone just has to be aware when he's on the ice.
1-0 Pittsburgh, gloved out by Tucker. Pike out off the far glass, kept in by Shetton. Now back into the corner. Shetton comes up with it, gives it to Lemieux. Fenfis after Lemieux. They go to the boards. Ruskowski is there to try to keep it in. John Tucker ahead to the line. Now Hike comes up with it. His pass at center to Tucker. Fires it in off the glass into the Pittsburgh zone. Gage moves into the corner with Mantha. Andrechuk is there. Has control. Into the corner. Slides it through side the net. The drive. And it's blocked in there. And that shot by Gage. Now there's going to be a penalty coming up to the Pittsburgh Penguins. And the Buffalo Sabres will go to the power play for the first time in the game. 1-0 Pittsburgh. You're watching Buffalo Sabres hockey.
Everybody said Stickum was the key to my football success. Yeah, sure. But if I could touch it, I could catch it. Stickum or no Stickum. Like I was one of the first to catch on that Miller Lite is brewed right here in Canada. Light tastes great, and it tastes less filling. So if you're like me, when something great comes along, you stick to it. I mean, with it.
Light beer from Miller, now brewed in Canada. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
Buffalo on the power play as Siren goes in front of the net. You're going to see him knock down John Tucker. And he's gone for holding. I don't know about that one. I just thought that was a pretty good defensive play in front of the net. But in any event, Sabres on the power play.
We now pause 5 seconds for station identification. This is the Sabres Television Network.
This is the Sabres Station, WGRZ TV2 in Buffalo.
Al Barrasso leaving it for Sears. Buffalo go to the power play for the first time of the game in the penalty box. Searin for holding at 13-15. 1-0 Pittsburgh. Sear bringing it back now. Sends it over to Housley to Andrechuk into the Pittsburgh zone. Andrechuk along the boards. Gage is there as well. Bodger. Andrechuk trying to work it back. Gives it to Housley. Along the blue line to the far side. Hopped over the blade of Sears' stick. Mantha to the corner. Pucker attempting to clear it. Here now is Sear. Tried to get it back for Gage. It hit the skate of the referee, Ron Hogarth, and finally cleared into the Buffalo zone. Both teams make a change. Housley goes back after it. 5:45 left to play in the first period. Sabres will try it again here with the extra man on the power play, led by Housley at center. Shoots it in off the glass into the Pittsburgh zone to the corner. Ruff moves in there with Bullard. Cleared once again by the Penguins.
Yeah, the Penguins ranked 16th overall in the National Hockey League. 76.5%. They have scored 9 shorthanded goals, led by Shabbat.
Here comes Perreault now into the Pittsburgh zone. He shoots right on. Romano makes the save on Perreault. It's cleared. Sear blocks it along the boards to keep it in. Now Cunningworth slaps it into the Buffalo zone with 25 seconds remaining in the penalty. To Veli Searin. Housley up to the line to Perreault. Now for Foligno. It comes back into the Buffalo zone. Sabres again back to set it up. Turns away from Hannon. Now gives it to Housley. Up on the left side for Ramsey at center right. Shoots it into the Pittsburgh zone behind the net. Romano tried to block it into the corner. Now Bodger trying to clear. Here's Perreault now. Here goes to the corner board. Still with it. Perreault getting it back. Englund back into Perreault. Buffalo still on the power play, but Ruskowski back to the head. Here comes Searin. He just stepped onto the ice, winding up with the shot. Blocked, gloved by Barrasso. He holds on to it. And we'll have a face-off in the Buffalo zone as soon as they clear things from it around the Buffalo net. 1-0 Pittsburgh. You're watching Buffalo Sabres hockey.
Chevrolet announces 7.9% financing. Now is your best chance ever to save big bucks on a new Chevy car or truck. Get 7.9% financing at your Good Neighbor Chevy dealers. Save over $600 on Cavalier, over $700 on Nova and El Camino. Save $800 on Celebrities and C10 pickups, over $1,000 on the heavy-duty K10. Your Good Neighbor Chevy dealers are loaded with new cars and trucks, so come and load up on savings. Get 7.9% financing at your Good Neighbor Chevy dealers.
Gilbert Perreault looking for number 499, and he cranks it up from about 25 feet in front of the net. And there's Roberto Romano just at the top of that goal crease to make the save.
Face off in the Buffalo zone. Lemieux wins the draw. Back to Bodger now. Into Ruskowski. Back to Lemieux. He's tied up from behind by Doug Smith. And Hamel sends it up to Sealing off his stick into the Pittsburgh zone. Romano leaving it there for Bodger behind the net. Up on the left side for Ruskowski. Knocked out by Hamel. Taken back now by Ramsey. The long shot in behind the Pittsburgh net. Cleared by Bodger. Around to the left side. Lemieux. But Ramsey's there for Buffalo to shoot it back in. Again, Mario Lemieux. And Lemieux picked up 3 assists the other night. There's a look at Mike Ramsey. But just to get to Mario Lemieux for a moment, the fact that he has now set a club record for the Pittsburgh Penguins. The old mark was set by Pierre LaRouche with 111 points. And, well, he's got 114 now. And his scoring streak is at now 20 games for Lemieux.
They've just done an outstanding job here in Pittsburgh, too, of marketing Mario Lemieux, Ted. He is without doubt the most recognized personality in the city, the most recognized sports personality, and has really matured and accepted his role and responsibility and what he means to this franchise.
Englund gets it up over the line, and Lemieux. Here comes Doug Smith into the Pittsburgh zone, and it came back over the line and sent back in, so it's an offside call. Rick Sealing, 10 goals, 10 assists coming into this game tonight, and one of your premier forecheckers in the NHL.
Now, he's also, of course, a great penalty killer, and he has that fine speed. And he will drive you crazy back there. With a great speed, he's able to get right on top of you and force you to make the play before you're ready to make it. But looking at Pittsburgh, Ted, I think the one area that they have improved most of all, and it's quite evident here early in this hockey game, is their goals against. They've allowed just 218 goals this year compared to Buffalo. Buffalo has allowed only 2 less than that. So that has been the major area of improvement.
Here's Andrechuk trying to get the shot. Hannon comes back with it now at center with Lindstrom on the right. Up into the Buffalo zone. He gives it to Willie Lindstrom, but it's an offside call at the Buffalo line. 3:31 remaining to play here in period number 1. 1-0 Pittsburgh leading.
Now Dave Hannon just dropped that puck back outside the line, but he was the ninth twice, 196th overall in 1981. He's been up and down between the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Baltimore Skipjacks. 5'10", 175 from Sudbury, Ontario.
Adam Scher's family watching tonight's game up in the Sudbury area. This game goes into Sudbury, Ontario. Up into the Timmins area, North Bay.
We're talking about Dave Fenves with an excellent defensive play early in the game. They're going to need him to start playing well, and he has been coming along lately. He's been having some problems with injuries this year, but he had an outstanding defensive season last year for Buffalo, and that's what they're looking for him to get back into that defensive game once again.
1-0 Pittsburgh, first period, 3:20 to go. Height behind the net. Up on that left side, Andrechuk. He's tied up. Lindstrom tries to get it. Now Height taken to the boards by Shabbat. Fenves up on that right side. Gage tries to clear it, unable to. Lindstrom keeps it in for Pittsburgh. Loose puck in behind the net. Shabbat knocks it into the corner. Andrechuk clearing it now, taken by Lindstrom. Lindstrom back into Shabbat. Lost it to Andrechuk. Comes to Fenves. Back to Andrechuk at center to the Pittsburgh line. Had trouble with it. Now Siren put it right onto the stick of Gage, and he is checked from behind. Hannon down the left side with Shabbat to Shabbat. He tried to drop it over to Lindstrom, but it's intercepted. Now Andrechuk at center ice. Out of the Pittsburgh line with Tucker left it there. Gage picks it up. Here's Gage moving into the corner. Still has it, goes in behind the Pittsburgh net, brings it right out in front. And Lindstrom on the far boards for Pittsburgh knocks it off the boards back to the Buffalo zone with 2:17 remaining to play in the first period. Ramsey clears it in off the corner boards into the Pittsburgh zone. Lodi lost it to Polito. Now it's picked off. Cleared by Simpson. Not out. Here's Ramsey with a long shot that goes wide. Polino to the far boards. Raleigh had knocked down by Polino. Then Polino goes to the ice. And here's Rupp in for checking. Cleared to center. Englund shoots it to center. Comes back to Brian Englund. And you'll meet Brian Englund in our first intermission as Ed Kilgore. We'll have an interview with one of the newcomers for the Buffalo Sabres, Brian Englund. That's in our first intermission coming up in 1 minute and 45 seconds from now. Gilbert Perreault, 16 goals, 26, and going after 500.
Well, after 500, and boy, if anybody tells you that you don't think that doesn't affect you, I don't think they think very much about this game of hockey. But there are only 11 players in the history of the NHL who have scored 500 or more goals, and that is an incredible accomplishment. And I'm sure that it's bothering Gilbert. It has to be.
And there's a sign from McKinley High School, the group down to watch this game tonight, and they hope, of course, Gilbert can pick up a couple of here tonight. Now the pass over to Fraudy off the boards into the Buffalo zone. And they get a whistle. And it's interesting discussing Gilbert Perreault in the 500 mark. Gilbert Perreault scored his first goal in his first game right here against the Penguins.
You know, you look back at guys who scored 500. As we look at Lindy Ruff, there was a big article in the day today in Pittsburgh here about Ruskowski, of course, and high praise from Eddie Johnson, the general manager, but I compare him to a Lindy Ruff kind of a player. He just shows up every night to play, and if there's any problems on the ice, he's always there to stick his nose in and to help out his teammate.
We are late in the first period. Pittsburgh holding on to a 1-0 lead as the puck is cleared into Penguins territory. Romano leaving it now for Johnson. 1:17 to go in the period. Lemieux has scored the lone goal of the game, his 39th of the year, as Cunnyworth sends it off the skated center. And plays down into the Buffalo zone to Barrasso now for Mike Ramsey. Up for Perreault. It's kept in now by the Penguins. Comes back with it at center now. Englund up to the line, giving it to Perreault. Dropped it back. Englund in after it, shooting it back in behind the Pittsburgh net. Here's Foligno to Perreault, but it's cleared away to the boards. Now back in behind the net. Perreault trying to work it in right in front of the drive. Oh, how Housley shot it wide, and then they picked the rebound off the boards and put it right in front of the net.
I think what he tried to do with that rebound, he tried to bank it off the goaltender. I'm pretty sure that's what he did, and it just slithered through the goal crease, but Housley point blank missing the net. Boy, you've got to bury those.
26 seconds left in the period. And a big chance a moment ago, but there's going to be a penalty coming up here to the Buffalo Sabres with 20 seconds left on the clock here in the first period as Housley fired that wide, had an excellent opportunity. And Mike Bullard, 36 goals. He's having a great season.
Let's see if we can pick up the Housley on the replays. The puck will go around. Look at Housley in front of the net. He tries to go up to the top corner, and that puck may have been spinning away from him. And right there, you saw Romano jump up in the air, and that's exactly what he tried to do, was bank that puck in off the goaltender, the back of his legs or off his skates. So a good smart play by Housley. It just didn't click.
1940, the time of the penalty. Uffolino for slashing. Pittsburgh getting their second opportunity in the power play. They're 0 for 1. And the face-off, it comes back into the Pittsburgh zone to Bodger. So if they don't score the next 12 seconds, they'll go into the second period with a power play. Height trying to clear it. It's over the line. 5 seconds to go. 4-3 as Smith lets the shot go wide. And that's it, the end of the first period here at the Civic Arena in Pittsburgh. As the Penguins get a goal, the lone goal scored by Mario Lemieux, his 39th of the year. Shots on goal, Pittsburgh 8, the Buffalo Sabres 6. So the score, after one period of play, the Pittsburgh Penguins 1, the Buffalo Sabres 0.
McDonald's puts together a perfect combination. The McDLT combo, just $1.99. Featuring that great new sandwich that keeps the hot hot and the cool cool. The McDLT combo. Hot fries in a regular size, cool medium Coca-Cola. A hot deal for a cool price, just $1.99 for a limited time. A perfect combination.
It's a good time.
It'll knock you out.
For the great taste of McDonald's.
May 1983. It begins with a commitment to give Buffalo the best. News Center 2 gets to work building the area's largest news operation, expanding to first at 5 and overnight, then region-wide. News Center 2 begins to earn a reputation for reporting that breaks new ground and emerges the leader in hometown sports coverage. 24 hours a day. It's a commitment that gives you better coverage of Western New York every day and overnight. News Center 2 working harder to be Buffalo's best.
In the first intermission here in Pittsburgh, and the Pittsburgh Penguins have a 1-0 lead over the Sabres. Not many shots. Penguins with 8 and the Sabres with 6. Defenseman Brian Engblom with me, who has just joined the Sabres, of course. And this is the kind of team, Brian, you really want to keep the shots down and the opportunities down, and you've certainly done that anyway.
Yeah, it's been a very close checking game so far. They've jammed the middle up, and we've tried to jam the middle up. The one goal they did get was just more or less a centering pass, and I guess it went off Phil's stick or his skate. I didn't see it. But there's not much room out there. They're a good, solid club. They're working very hard, and we're going to have to fight for every inch we get out there.
What's it like you play on that ice surface in Buffalo, which is considerably smaller than this one? This may be one of the biggest ones. How does that affect your game?
It affects your game in the corners mostly as a defenseman because there's a lot less room in Buffalo. The puck comes around much faster when they shoot it in and when you're trying to get it out. So you have to adjust for that. They know their boards a little better than we do, obviously, and they can take advantage of some good dump-ins. They want the puck to either lay right in the corner so that they can chase me into the corner or Mike Ramsey or whoever's out there in defense and try and turn the puck over and throw it in front of the net, naturally. In our rink, it keeps going more, and you're able to kind of catch up with it and keep it going the way you want it to. So you have to know where you are out there and not get lost.
Obviously, you're looking for number 66 out there. I know you can't worry about matching lines, really, in a situation like this, and I don't think Scotty's trying to do that. But as a defenseman, I'm sure you're very aware of when he's on the ice. Now, what do you keep in mind playing against Lemieux? And maybe you could compare him with number 99, if there is a comparison.
Well, Mario's very good in traffic. He's got tremendous reach, and he's always calm. Doesn't matter if there's all 5 guys around him. He can still stick handle around about 3 of them. So I think the thing is, though, that you don't want to send 2 or 3 guys on him. You want to send one guy on him and have confidence that he's going to do the job. I mean, he might slip the check once in a while. You have to be watching the play in case that does happen. But you have to have confidence in your own man that he's going to do the job, because a guy like him will draw 2 or 3 players to him, and then he'll throw a great pass to someone who's open. That's the same thing that Gretzky does. Gretzky moves away from the play, then they find him, he gets the puck, and of course he zips around and stays away from everybody, but he's drawing traffic all the time, and he can always find that 1 open man or 2 open men, and they're going to get a great play out of it. So in that respect, they're very similar, but Mario's better in traffic because he is a bigger man and he can take the bumps and still be standing, whereas Wayne's a little bit smaller, and he likes to stay away from the traffic.
How about the adjustment coming from nice, sunny Los Angeles? I know you've been asked this many times, Brian, but there's a big difference not only in, of course, the atmosphere, but off the ice, on the ice. What are the differences, maybe?
Well, it was 92, I think, the last 2 days in L.A. I don't know what it was in Buffalo, but it wasn't 92.
No.
I'm really enjoying Buffalo. It's a different atmosphere in that it's a smaller town. It's much easier to get around in. You don't feel kind of lost out there. Los Angeles is very, very spread out. It's just solid people from one end to the other. But you kind of live in your own little world out there, your community and where the rink is and where the practice rink is, that sort of thing. As far as the hockey goes, it takes a backseat to the football and the baseball and things like that. And they have, and the Lakers, it's tough in that respect because people aren't talking about it all the time, and you can maybe get away from it mentally, which is good at certain times of the year. Like now, sometimes you want to forget about it for a day or so, but overall, it's tough to stay in it because there are so many other things going on. Whereas Buffalo, everywhere you go, people are talking about the Sabres, and it's fun, and it's good, and it puts pressure on you to play well each night, and I think that's necessary in order to play well over the course of 80 games.
All right, well, best of luck the rest of the way this game and the rest of the season for you, Brian.
Thank you very much.
Brian Engblom, our intermission guest, and our intermission will continue here from Pittsburgh in just a moment. In the first intermission here in Pittsburgh, Penguins with a 1-0 lead over the Sabres after the first 20 minutes. And a reminder, the Penguins are going to have 1:20 left on the power play when they start that second period. But shots 8-6 Pittsburgh, so I guess the Sabres, at least from a defensive standpoint, have to feel pretty good about the way they played.
I think they played their game, and they were particularly concerned, I think, in the opening 5 or 6 minutes, where Pittsburgh, they knew would be fired up from that overtime victory the other night, and Buffalo was ready for them. And I think that they're playing the kind of a game that they want to play. They're not taking any defensive chances in that Pittsburgh zone, and consequently they're having players back, and the defense is able to stand up. But I think that the scoring chances were about equal, but I think maybe in the last 7 or 8 minutes, Buffalo started to come on a little bit.
Mario Lemieux with a couple good scoring chances early before he finally did score, but Tom Barrasso had to come up with one save on him. Here that is.
Well, just a quick slap shot off a drop pass. And you see Barrasso, I mean, anytime he's on the ice, you have to be aware of him. And Tom was right out in front. He saw the play all the way. I think he knew exactly what was coming, and he was there to make the save.
Barrasso, obviously playing very well in his last 2 starts, has just allowed 1 goal in each of the last 2 games, and he deserved a better fate on a goal that finally did elude him, as he never had a chance on this one.
It was just one of those goals, but you watch the play will go into the Buffalo zone, and it's a giveaway around the boards, and Lemieux's just going to pick it up and fire it to the front of the net, and you watch Phil Housley standing in front of Barrasso. Right there, he tries to play. It's just a natural reaction with your stick to try and maybe tip it into the corner or try to knock it down, and unfortunately for the Sabres, it hit his stick and went by a very surprised Barrasso.
Sabres fans are looking for number 11 to get the puck in the net, and there's got to be a lot of pressure and concern on the part of Gilles Perreault. He wishes he could get the numbers 499 and 500. Had a couple chances here in the first period.
Now, Gilbert Perreault doesn't usually talk about scoring too many goals, as this is the one where Foligno tries to set him up through the goal crease, and the puck just rolls in between his legs. But only 11 other players in the history of the National Hockey League. Here's another one. He's going to slap the puck, and Romano will be there to make the save. But only 11 players in the history of the NHL have been able to attain that plateau, which is incredible when you really think think of the numbers of players who have played over the years, and I think it definitely has to bother you. And you know, Gilbert doesn't like to talk about his accomplishments too much, but I think even at the beginning of this year, he was talking about 500. That would be his big thrill. That would be the one thing that he would really like to accomplish before he retires from the National Hockey League. I mean, he's going to get it, but I'll tell you, you see Foligno out there every time. He's always looking for peril, and it throws your game off a little bit. So Gilles struggling right now, but he's starting to get some chances again.
Well, although we both hope he gets 2 tonight or whatever, we'd love to see him get it in Buffalo, and I'm sure the Buffalo fans would like to see that as well. Sabres, we were talking about this a little earlier. You think they're a little bit predictable coming out of their own end? They might have to change that up a little bit.
Well, I don't know if they should change it, but they come out the left side almost 80 to 90% of the time. I think if our viewers will watch, you'll find that to be the case. And one of the reasons for that is the fact that they're all left-handed defensemen, so they always tend to go around that one way. But they flood the one side. By that we mean they might see sometimes a winger over there. You'll see a defenseman as well as maybe the centerman. So basically everybody knows which way the play is going. And I've noticed in the last 3 or 4 games the fact that Tom Barrasso was not playing the puck as aggressively as he was in the past. And incidentally, we'll have an interview with Tommy coming up in our next game against the Quebec Nordique on Saturday night, which he talks about that in depth. But what was happening was the Sabres, he's a right-handed goaltender. He usually clears the puck up the right side, and the team doesn't want to come out that way. They want to go back the other way. So they're forcing Tommy most of the time just to leave the puck back there for the defenseman. And you'll watch, he's not as aggressive at all as far as playing the puck is concerned.
Well, and I think it probably keeps the defenseman a little more alert too.
Well, sure it does, because they were getting lazy. A lot of times they were leaving everything up to Tom, and they were, you know, just not getting back in time. So now they know that they're going to leave the puck there. They have to get back.
All right, so it's 1-0 Pittsburgh after 1, and the Penguins will be on the power play for 1 minute 20 seconds when we start the second period. That's coming right up.
Hi, this is Barry. Our new Center 2 neighbors all over Western New York have shared some very special stories with us. Join us for a look back Saturday at 7 here on TV 2.
This portion of Buffalo Sabres hockey is brought to you by your Good Neighbor Chevy dealers. Discover the new world of today's Chevy at your Good Neighbor Chevrolet dealers. Dealers you can lean on. By the 9X Yellow Pages. It's always there when you need it. And by City Mattress. Isn't it time you got the feeling?
Ted Darling back on our broadcast location here at the Pittsburgh Civic Arena after 1 period, 1 goal. Mario Lemieux, his 39th of the year from Bullard and Bodger at the 9:39 mark to give Pittsburgh the 1-0 lead. Shots on goal in that first period. Pittsburgh 8, Buffalo 6. Tonight's Buffalo Sabres telecast is intended solely for the viewing pleasure of our audience. Any rebroadcast without the express written permission of WGRZ TV and the Buffalo Sabres is prohibited. Well, Western New York 4 area high school hockey league champions will again be crowned in Memorial Auditorium during the 2nd annual Super Sunday to be held on Sunday, March the 9th. The 4 league championships to be decided at the Southtowns, Western New York, Monsignor Martin, and the Explorer Leagues. And the first game begins at 9:30. Tickets are $3 each and are good for all 4 games. Tickets are available at the Sabres Memorial Auditorium ticket office. Over 2,000 fans attended last year's game, and of course they hope to build up the crowds as the years go by. And the second period is underway. The puck is cleared into the Buffalo zone as the Penguins start here on the power play in the second period with 1:25 remaining in the penalty to Foligno. Back to the blue line. Over it comes to Bantha. He cleared it in wide to the Buffalo, and at Shetton's in there. Height knocked it off the boards. Ruskowski to the far side for Lemieux. Cleared it to the side to Shetton. Knocked off his stick. Ruskowski to the right point to Mantha. The shot that's tipped wide. Here's Lemieux now on the far boards. Mario Lemieux. There's a drive. Barrasso makes the save in front of the net on Terry Ruskowski. And the Penguins have 57 seconds left in their power play.
Now, Pittsburgh ranked 6th in the NHL overall. But this is what happens when Mario gets the puck. Everybody's looking towards him. He's like Gretzky. He just draws a crowd, and you tend to forget what's going on in behind you. And you better be alert, because you know Mario Lemieux's not going to score from there. The guy in front of the net's going to score, and you can bet if that player is anywhere near being open, Lemieux is going to get it or put it on his stick.
Face off in the Buffalo zone. Opening minute of the second period. On the draw into the corner. Englund being chased in there by Ruskowski. They go to the board. Shedden tries to dig it free. Well, Ruskowski has his stick right through the glass.
There's a look at number 8, Terry Ruskowski. When he was talking, he was signed as a free agent this year by the Pittsburgh Penguins. He said one of the key reasons they signed me was because I was a captain in Chicago and in Los Angeles. And when he played in Chicago, he was named captain by their coach at the time, Ed Johnson, who is now the general manager here. So Eddie never forgot that. And he's a kind of a player that's great in the dressing room. And as I mentioned before, is not afraid to pick a scrap with somebody.
Mantha back at the point. Pittsburgh still in the power play. Mantha loses it at the Buffalo line. 40 seconds now left in the penalty to Foligno. Mantha carries it in behind the net. Coming back with the extra man, but the pass went behind Shedden. Englund in to touch it, and the Penguins are called for icing on the power play.
Ted, there's been a scoring change on Lemieux's goal in the first period. Bullard and Bodger were given the assist. That goal coming at 9:39, and Minnesota out in front of Hartford 3-0. They're still in the first period.
Here's a look at Brian Englund, who was Ed's guest in the first intermission. I thought, Ted, the last game against the Washington Capitals, that should have been the #1 star. It's the first time that I have disagreed in a long time with the 3-star selection, but I thought he was just outstanding for the Sabres.
Yes, he did. He had an excellent game. Face off into the right now of the Pittsburgh net. Lemieux against Perreault. Buffalo at the moment playing shorthanded. 28 seconds left. Back to the left point comes to Fenfis. Clears it in behind the Pittsburgh net. Bullard on the far boards. Works it back in behind the Pittsburgh net. 19 seconds left in their power play. Coming back for the now. Johnson sends it to the right side to Schmidt. Steps in over the Buffalo blue line. The pass in front. The drive went wide by Frawley. Now side of the net. Here's Lemieux bringing it out in front. He shoots. He scores. Mario Lemieux. Goal number 40 of the season. His second of the night. And it's 2-0 Pittsburgh. A power play goal for the Penguins.
And watch this play by Mario Lemieux coming out from behind the net. Tom Barrasso is just going to go down. And watch the puck just, there he goes, just up over his right shoulder. Just committing himself too soon. And Lemieux, there he goes, just unable to regain his position. And Lemieux just puts it in the short side. What a goal.
I think it was Craig Redmond talking the other day after the Kings had played Pittsburgh, and he was talking about Lemieux, and he said, you know, Wayne Gretzky is a great player, but this guy is not too far behind, and he can do a lot of things that Gretzky can't do. Now cleared back into the Pittsburgh zone as Pittsburgh takes a 2-0 lead. Now taken by Smith. Quick drive. Romano the save. Halkitis going to the far board. Gets it back to Ramsey. Back into Halkitis. Quick shot. Cleared by Romano. Out on the boards and trying to keep it in. Left point Englund, but he hit Doug Smith with it. Behind the net. Johnson around the boards. And now Sear off a skate. Comes back to Englund. Glove down at the line. Honeyworth's pass intercepted by Halkitis. He overskated the puck. Now recovered by Norm Schmidt inside the Pittsburgh line. And here they come. They lead by 2-0. In now into the Buffalo zone. Blaisdell trying to clear it back to the point. Sears sends it to the far side. Gage with the pass. Intercepted by Bullard. Deflected right through to Barrasso. He decides to hold on. 2-0 Pittsburgh. You're watching Buffalo Sabres hockey.
Celebrity Eurosport. Something more from today's Chevrolet. Celebrity Eurosport. Drive today's Chevy. Live today's Chevy. Celebrity.
17:23 remaining in the second period. Penguins have built up a 2-0 lead over Buffalo as Height clears it around the boards. The puck slides back into Pittsburgh territory. There's Jody Gage moving into the corner with John Chabot. Now Tucker. Mantha. And Andrechuk after him. Hannon with the pass that goes off the skate of Tucker. Now Gage trying to send it in. He does, and Romano leaving it now for Chabot. Gives it to Mantha. Penguins trying to come back. Gloved down by Housby. Breaks into the Pittsburgh zone. Goes to the right point with it. Long drive. Deflected wide. And skating in front of the net was Tucker now. Andrechuk off the skate of Tucker. Behind the net. Gives it to Gage. Put it to the side of the net, and Mantha takes over in the rebound. Shoots it around the boards. Lindstrom tries to send it on to center. He does. It's picked up by John Chabot. In over the line. He falls down. Recovered now by Hannon behind the Buffalo and into the corner with Housley. 4 of them to the corner boards. And they hold it there, and we'll have a face-off in the Buffalo zone with 16-17 remaining here in the second period. Jody Gage, a native of Toronto, played for the Hamilton Finn Cups and the Kitchener Rangers.
Well, he does have some NHL experience with the Detroit Red Wings. And being put on that line along with Dave Andrechuk and John Tucker. We look at that shot by Housling. It was Tucker who tipped this. You can see Romano was out of position, but the puck just bounded wide into the corner. But Gage is starting to fit in very well, taking over from Norm Lacombe, who's out of the lineup with a fractured jaw for Buffalo.
On the draw, the loose puck comes in front of the net, but Gates Orlando swings away for Buffalo at center into the Pittsburgh zone. Had it knocked off his stick, comes back to Orlando. Into the corner now. Simpson gets it behind the net. Bodger the pass. Here Simpson tries to break at center. Tips it to the Buffalo blue line, where Mike Ramsey takes over and shoots it to center. Now cleared back in by Frawley, and it's an offside call at the Buffalo line.
Now Mike Ramsey having another good second half for Buffalo, and he's that anchor back there on the defense. Just plays consistently well every night.
By the way, the Buffalo Sabres Booster Club will hold its annual awards dinner Monday, March the 24th at the Executive Hotel. Proceeds from this year's dinner will benefit the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation. All Sabres players and coaches will attend the dinner. Tickets are $25 each, and may be purchased before all Sabres home games at the Booster Club booth in Memorial Auditorium or at the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation office on Transit Road in Depew. That's March the 24th, the Buffalo Sabres Booster Club annual dinner.
Ladies and gentlemen, the players request that objects not be thrown on the ice. A serious injury could occur.
As I look at Doug Shedden, we were talking to a 5th-round draft choice in 1980, the 93rd player taken overall. Having another good year for Pittsburgh. I think we tend to always talk about Mario Lemieux, but there's some other pretty good players on this team.
Hamel slashes it into the Pittsburgh zone. A loose puck in front, tipped by Hughes around to the far side. Hughes after it. Loose puck cleared to the line, and Shedden. His pass to Lemieux. Here he comes into the Buffalo zone. Lemieux with the shot. Barrasso the save, the rebound. It's recovered there as Lemieux goes after the hat trick tonight. Now comes back into the Buffalo zone. Up to center. Busquets breaks it up at center ice. Clears it in. Englund tips it back to center ice. Bodger left it there. It comes over to Busquets. Inside the line. Getting it off Shedden. Now Habel moves in against Busquets to the corner boards. Shedden's there. Clears it to the other corner. Hughes moves in with Bodger. Ruskowski. Watched by Hughes. Gives it to Busquets at his own line and clearing it off the boards. There's it back into the Pittsburgh zone. And going back after it, Doug Bodger. Buffalo called for icing. 2-0 Pittsburgh. You're watching Buffalo Sabres hockey.
Sally, who took the yellow pages? Honey, have you seen the yellow pages?
No.
Susie, where are the yellow pages?
Sally had it last. I did not.
Come on, I need the yellow
Over the years, one book has been in more homes, helping people throughout New York find more goods and services. The 9X Yellow Pages.
Mom.
It's always there when you need it.
Oh.
Face off in the Buffalo zone to the left of Barrasso as Doug Bodger is making his way to the Pittsburgh dressing room. Picked up an injury in the last time he was on the ice. 14:45 left in the second period. And Perro back on the ice for Buffalo. He's between Lindy Ruff and Foligno. The shot right on by Schmidt. And Barrasso got the rebound up to Ruff. Here comes Perro up to the Pittsburgh line. Sends it in off the corner boards. Foligno. And it's knocked down by Johnson. It was hit above the shoulders, so they whistle the play down.
Now there's Gilbert playing at center. Lindy Ruff on the left side and Foligno on the right side. And I go back, Ted, I don't like to do this all the time, but you see a sign for Perro, to the days when Richard Martin was trying to score 50 goals. And I mean, everybody was trying to give him the puck. It was right here in Pittsburgh, as a matter of fact. And he never did end up scoring 50. But the point is, it takes away from your game because you're constantly looking for someone who's trying to reach a certain plateau. And you watch Foligno and Lindy Ruff, they'll always be looking for Perro wherever they are on the ice.
Here's Perro into the corner. Now Foligno ties up his check. Norm Schmidt.
Well, what a season Mike Foligno is having for the Buffalo Sabres. 32 goals, 30 assists, 62 points, plus 27, which is tops on the Buffalo Sabres, in 116 minutes in penalties. And you talk about players that come to play every night, he goes right to the top of the list.
Foligno 4 shy of his career high of 36 goals. Scored in Detroit. On the draw, the puck comes right to Romano, and he holds on. And of course, we were talking about the Delta Sonic car wash people donating money to 22 area charities in Western New York. Mike Foligno has contributed $975 to the Buffalo General Hospital. At least Delta Sonic has. Of course, we thank Delta Sonic. They've contributed well over $8,000 so far. Now the puck inside the Pittsburgh line, knocked away. And here comes number 26. That Blaisdell over the pass over to Bullard. The backhand drive, and he is stopped by Barrasso on the short side. Housley starts away now. His pass up to Perro. Here he comes at center. Gives it to Foligno into the Pittsburgh zone. Back to Ruff. He stumbled, lost his balance, and fell to the ice. Right at the line. Clears it in. Could be a delayed offside coming up. Out comes over to Schmidt. They whistled it down on the delayed offside with 13:51 remaining.
Now Lindy Ruff just had to sort of throw the brakes on as Foligno tried to give him that puck right at that Pittsburgh line. As we look at the Penguins' opportunity at the other end, watch this great defensive play by Billy Height. He's going to just sprawl down right here on number 22 of the Penguins. That was Bullard. He just managed to get his stick on it. Good defensive play by Height.
Speaking of the contributions by Delta Sonic, Andrechuk, $775 for the Sheehan Emergency Hospital. Paul Sear, $400 for the Arthritis Foundation. And I could go on. Play. Here comes Lemieux into the Buffalo zone now. Still with it. There's the drive. Oh, Barrasso stops Lemieux on that hard slap shot. He gets it again. Back in on goal. And this time he sent it over top and right over the crossbar and off the glass. Mario Lemieux, what a domineering figure for the Pittsburgh Penguins. And listen to the cheers come up from the crowd as Alcides blasts one, and it's gloved by Romano. 2-0 Pittsburgh leading. You're watching Buffalo Sabres hockey.
Wake up to that city mattress feeling. Stretch up to the ceiling and you're ready for today. Good nights and good mornings, and you feel good all the time. It's that city mattress feeling, feeling fine. We're up. It's that city mattress feeling. Working hard for you to make you feel that special way. It's that city mattress feeling every day.
Mario Lemieux looking for goal number 3, but a great save by Tom Barrasso. Just with that right pad, and just moments after that, Lemieux ended up with a puck in front of the net. Tried to go for the top corner and shot it up against the glass. But what a hockey player, number 66.
2-0 Pittsburgh face-off in Pittsburgh territory. Penguins will be in against the New York Rangers at Madison Square Garden tomorrow night. That will be a key game as well. Ruskowski into the corner. Tries to send away Lemieux to put it off his skate. Taken by Mike Ramsey at center ice. Sends it up to the left side for Sear. Knocked it by Lemieux. He dumps it into the Buffalo zone. Mike Ramsey in after it. Ruskowski into the corner after Ramsey. Round the boards for Sear. Mantha trying to keep it in. It comes over the line. Sends it back in, but here comes Smith at center. Shoots it in wide to the Pittsburgh net. Romano left it there. Up on the right side. Kicked out by Englund. Now comes back into Pittsburgh territory with Mantha. Watched there by Sear. 7.5 minutes have gone by in the second period. Now Height will go after it into his own zone. Pittsburgh has had 15 shots. Buffalo 11 overall. As the Sabres try to get on the scoreboard here against the Penguins, and they're having difficulty. They lost it. Here comes Shedden now up to the line. He's got Hannon back to Lemieux, and then goal. Lemieux the drive. Barrasso picked off the rebound as Shedden took a whack at it at the side of the Buffalo net.
Well, the Sabres just simply not bearing down in the neutral zone, and they've been caught 3 or 4 times this period. And here the Penguins come again. But a good defensive play in front of the net. That was Billy Height back there again for Buffalo. And Barrasso picking this puck out of the air. But on a big ice surface like this, Ted, you have to move the puck quicker. And Buffalo is just holding on to the puck a little bit too long. And I think they're going to have to readjust their game. If you look from a different angle, a fine defensive play by Height. And that's 2 beauties he's made here in the second period.
Face off in the Buffalo zone. Tucker going to the board. Chabot gets it behind the net. The pass comes back, tipped away. Now Gage coming back with Andreychuk as Andreychuk sends it in off the corner boards. Romano will block it. And he holds on to that with 11:57 now remaining here in this period. As you look at Roberto Romano.
He was going to retire last year from the Pittsburgh Penguins. He said he was frustrated. We weren't winning, and he said it really got to me. And Eddie Johnson, the general manager, talked to him during the offseason, and he has played very well this year for the Pittsburgh Penguins. He has 2 shutouts. He has 4 career shutouts. And going into the season, a 4.62 goals against average, although it is considerably lower right now, 3.20, which is very good.
Romano replaced Gilles Malache in the overtime win against Los Angeles the other night. After Malache had allowed 4 goals on 11 shots in the first period, Romano took over, played the last 2 periods. And the Penguins went on to that 6-5 overtime win. Housley at center, clearing it in. Schmidt after it, and it's whistled down. Pittsburgh leading 2-0, both goals by Mario Lemieux, his 39th and 40th goals of the season.
Scotty Bowman and Craig Ramsey in behind the bench. And I mentioned the fact that the last 2 games the Sabres played, I think you could term it Scotty hockey. Just good, tight defensive checking, and Sabres making the most of their chances. But they're having some problems getting on track here tonight, and I still have to believe that this large ice surface is bothering them.
Now Romano at the side of the net. Schmidt gives it to Jean Chabot. Can't clear it. Here's Tucker, but it's knocked off his stick. Andreychuk has it. Dave Andreychuk, 27 goals on the season. Tucker with 28 goals, clearing it away from Hannon in behind the Pittsburgh net. Johnson with it for the Penguins. Up on that right side to Schmidt. Out to the blue line at center. Fires it in off plate. Housley comes away with it for Buffalo. Right wing pass now. Here comes Gage into the zone. He tried to get it back. Deflected. And here come the Penguins on the attack at center. Hannon down the left side. Clears it into the Buffalo zone. Housley will go in after it. Barrasso leaves it for him. Pittsburgh makes a change as Housley brings it back up over the blue line. Steps away from Cunnyworth. Up into the... Oh, gets by another one. Over to Orlando, to Hamel, the drive. And what a play by Housley. But Romano stops Hamel. Back the other end. Here comes Cunnyworth into the Buffalo zone. Cleared away. Orlando steps away at center with Hamel on his left. On the right, Hughes. It's blocked. And here comes Cunnyworth again. Rink wide pass over to Blaisdell. Shooting. Whistle that one off the glass. Come back in front. Orlando with the rebound. Up over the blue line. Back with Hamel. The pass to Hamel. Hopped over the blade of his stick into the Pittsburgh zone. He is taken to the boards. Penguins clear it. Not out. Here now. Fenfors with a drive. And Romano holds on to that. 2-0. Pittsburgh leading. And you're watching Buffalo Sabres hockey.
This is today's Chevrolet Camaro.
Saturday night, USA. Heartbeat pumping, time to play. Camaro's waiting for you. The main V8 Chevrolet. Big night history, your own way. Street Camaro new. Saturday night, USA. Streets alive with Chevrolet. Drive today, Chevy. Today, Chevy. Camaro.
I think we should have the Buffalo Philharmonic here tonight. Anytime Lemieux picks up the puck, have them play, and anytime Phil Housley picks up the puck, have them play. What a great rush by Housley, just going end to end.
Then Hamel was stopped on the shot. Face off in the Pittsburgh zone. Perro back on now between Foligno and Ruff. Midway point of the second period. Cleared around the boards. Ramsey to keep it in for Buffalo. Foligno now Ruff into the corner with Mantha behind the net. Mario Lemieux slides it around to Ruskowski. He is bumped by Fenfus, but Shedden picks it up. Steps in over the Buffalo blue line, waiting for some help. Knocked out by Foligno. It was hit above the shoulder with the stick. It's whistled down.
Well, that was a great play by Mario Lemieux in his own zone. Just anticipating that pass in behind the net and then moving it right up the ice. As we look at Shedden, he plays the left side, or excuse me, the right side with Mario Lemieux, and Ruskowski plays the left side.
Who plays the middle side?
The middle side.
On the draw inside the line, Mantha with it on the far boards. Now the shot. Cleared to Barrasso, taken by Ruskowski in front. Mantha the drive. Barrasso the save and the rebound tipped ahead to Foligno. He gives it to Fenfus. Missed it. Ruff helping. Now Fenfus shoots it out into the Pittsburgh zone. The Sabres need a goal to get it back into this one. Taking it is Siren on the far side up to Lemieux. Lemieux with those long strides. Oh, and he is high stick. There's a drive. Lemieux into the corner. Now Lemieux with it again. Here's Lemieux turning into the corner. Lemieux moving it in front. The pass off the skate of Perro. And Lemieux furious over the fact that no penalty was called when he was high stick. Perro dropped it back. Here's a drive right on. Romano the rebound. Ruff with a backhand shot. And it did not get through. It hit the back of Foligno. Now Englund got to get it back in for Ruff. Back to Englund with a shot kicked away by Romano into the corner. Mantha clearing it. Again, Englund keeps it in for Buffalo. Behind the net is Perro. He has it behind the net, trying to work it into the goal crease. He is stopped and Lemieux comes away with it. Up to the blue line. Back at center to the Buffalo line with Shedden. They crisscross. Here's Lemieux, side of the net, right behind the net. One-handing it now, trying to get it in front. He does. Tipped by Schmidt into the corner. Sear gets it off the boards. Up to Doug Smith. At center. Back with Sear. They race into the Pittsburgh zone. Smith clearing it over the blue line. Here's Height stopping Loney. Kicked out by Troy Loney. Now for Sear. He dropped it back and gives it to Englund with 8:11 remaining in the second period. Cleared by Smith into the Pittsburgh zone.
Well, it's been a long time since you've heard the Pittsburgh fans get up for a hockey game like they are tonight.
Especially on a weeknight. Yeah. They usually get good crowds on a Saturday night. They hold it to the boards, and we'll have a face-off in the Pittsburgh zone with 7:53 left here in the second period.
Now, Mario Lemieux just moments ago really was clipped with a high stick, and I'm quite surprised that this wasn't called. You watch right there, Fenves with a stick. Actually, Lemieux probably did it to himself as the stick may have glanced off his right arm and then up into the face area. And maybe that's perhaps the reason that Hogarth did not call that. But generally, anytime you see a high stick now in the NHL, the referees are directed or have been directed to call it. But this game, Ted, suddenly opening up, just end-to-end action.
Now the blue line, quick shot by Halkitis. It's cleared off the boards by Fronte. Halkitis will chase it back deep into the Buffalo zone as Pittsburgh makes a player change. Pass comes over the line. Here's Cunninworth with a long drive. Barrasso the save there. Now cleared by Halkitis into Pittsburgh territory. Going back after it, Jim Johnson off the boards, gets it to center. There's going to be a penalty coming up here to the Pittsburgh Penguins as Barrasso makes his way to the Buffalo bench. Cleared by Johnson, and now the play is whistled down. A hooking goal to Pittsburgh. 2-0 Penguins lead. You're watching Buffalo Sabres hockey.
Sally, who took the yellow pages? Honey, have you seen the yellow pages?
No.
Susie, where are the yellow pages?
Sally had it last. I did not.
Come on, I need the yellow
Over the
pages.
years, one book has been in more homes, helping people throughout New York find more goods and services. The 9X Yellow Pages.
Mom.
It's always there when you need it.
Oh.
The Sabres with a chance to get back in this game as Cunninworth goes for hooking. I'm not not so sure that was the play. The play happened out in the neutral zone area. And there was no doubt about the penalty. What we just saw was not a penalty.
Face off in the Pittsburgh zone. Buffalo going to the power play. Their second of the night. On the draw now. Here's Housley. The high drive, but high over the crossbar. Romano tried to grab it. Gage picked it up. Sends it into the corner. Tucker has control. The pass comes off the skate back to the line. Housley fakes the shot. His pass over to Gage, the drive, and Rachuk then tried to get the rebound in. And Rachuk into the corner. The net has been knocked off the magnets as Jody Gage almost scored his first goal as a Buffalo Sabre.
Well, he had a great chance the other night, too, against the Washington Capitals, and Jensen robbed him blind, but what a play again by Housley. And you see a sliding stop. I'm sure Gage tried to put that puck up top, but I think he's going to find out quickly that one of the major differences between the American League and the National Hockey League is the goaltending is so much better up here in the big leagues. And a great save by Romano as you see the net being knocked off.
Randy Cundyworth in the penalty box for hooking at the 12:40 mark, and Penguins a man short as Buffalo on its second power play of the night.
Well, the Sabres desperately need the power play now to get them back in this game. With 7:01 remaining in this the second period, the Sabres ranked 17th overall in the NHL and dead last on the road, 13.9%.
On the draw, cleared by Bodger. Housley tried to keep it in. He couldn't. It comes back into the Sabre zone, and Sear will go back after it, watched by John Chabot. 1:25 left in the penalty. And Rachuk leading the rush for Buffalo to the Pittsburgh line. He tried to leave it there, tied up in his skates. Here's Housley coming up with it, back to Sear. He shoots. It's blocked by Mantha. Sear gets it again, comes back to the line with it. Into the corner, feeds it into Tucker. Loose puck in front, knocked away by Bodger back into the Buffalo zone. With 1 minute now remaining. Housley up for Ruff, but he couldn't get it, and it slides back to the Pittsburgh zone. Or it's slapped at it, but not out. Ruff keeps it in, but off his pad. Now Ramsey in along the boards, gives it to Doug Smith. Back to Mike Ramsey. Back into Smith, moving in on goal. Still with it, he shoots. Oh, Romano, what a glove save off Doug Smith. Romano got it in the glove, and then it dropped to the ice, and he fell on it.
Now, he made a great save off Doug Smith, but I'm not so sure he got a whole lot on this shot. Just a good play by Smith to move in front of the net. And you see, well, he did. He let that go pretty good. Just a quick wrist shot as he tried to go for the top corner. A good play by Smith to fake down the Pittsburgh defenseman. That was number 25, Norm Schmidt. And boy, he didn't make a very good play moments ago either. Ted with time to clear the puck out of the zone and just ended up shooting it right into somebody's shin pads.
Romano appears to be injured, and the trainer got onto the ice. And this is a very important game, of course, for the Pittsburgh Penguins. They have a 3-point lead over the New York Rangers for that fourth and final playoff spot, and they going to make it a 5-point lead here tonight with a victory, and they play the Rangers tomorrow night at Madison Square Garden. It's 2-0 Pittsburgh leading, and we now pause 5 seconds for station identification. This is the Sabres Television Network.
This is the Sabre Station, WGRZ TV2 in Buffalo.
Ted, you're talking about Pittsburgh, of course, the importance of this season, and you look back over the history of this franchise, it has not been very successful. As a matter of fact, they haven't made the playoffs, first of all, in 3 years, and they have had only 4 teams win more games than they lost in 18 NHL seasons, and it looks like they could add another one to that, is that right now that they are presently 4 games above 500.
On the draw, the shot there went wide by Perreault. Hannon clears it over the line. Chabot at center against Perreault. Knocked it into Sabres territory, but Housley comes right back with it. 25 seconds left in the Buffalo power play. And it's whistled down at the Pittsburgh blue line. The New Jersey Devils have a 2-1 lead over the New York Islanders, and they're going to be watching that board very closely as well, because 2 points here for Pittsburgh would give them 67 points. They would move within 1 of the Islanders should the Islanders lose tonight.
Great.
They would move within one of the Islanders should the Islanders lose tonight.
Great races in the Adams division and, of course, in the Patrick division. And it's good for hockey. It's exciting for the fans. And I know Sabre fans, I'm sure, would like to see their team about 20 points ahead of Hartford. But it is interesting and exciting.
Now Ramsey inside his own line. 17 seconds remaining in the power play as Rupp clears it in behind the net. Foligno now Perro on the far boards. Getting it back to Housley. Shooting right on. Romano the save. The rebound. Foligno. Oh, he fired it wide in behind the net with Romano down in the goal crease. Foligno shot it wide. Perro gets it to side the net to Rupp. He tried to send it back in front to Foligno. Off the leg. Cleared by Cunnyworth to center. And the Penguins are back at full strength. Buffalo's are 0 for 2 tonight on the power play. And it's 2-0 Pittsburgh. You're watching Buffalo Sabres hockey.
When it's time for fun, take it on the run. Introducing today's Sprint, the import from Chevrolet that loves to run.
Loves to save, loves to run. Grab a Sprint, share the fun.
Sprint's 3-cylinder overhead cam engine combines extraordinary mileage with zippy performance. And with Sprint's low sticker price, the fun has just begun. Today's Sprint, it loves to run.
Drive today, Chevy. Live today, Chevy. Chevy.
Mike Foligno is going to end up with a quality scoring chance in front of the net, as he will eventually corral this puck right here and then just fire it wide on the short side with Romano down.
Romano with 2 shutouts this season. Tom Barrasso also with a pair of shutouts. 5 minutes remaining to play in the second period. Here's Lemieux with it. Looking, tried to drop it back, and Andreychuk takes over for Buffalo. Up to center with Gage on the right, Tucker on the left. Gage fired it off Andreychuk with the shot by Andreychuk to rebound. And it's fired wide by Tucker on the backhand. And the puck is cleared back into Sabres territory with Andreychuk going back after it. Gives it to Mike Ramsey. Up now for Tucker. At center ice to the Pittsburgh line. Still in control. Gets it back to Andreychuk. Loose puck recovered by Ruskowski. He comes back with Shetton. Up to the line. Ruskowski looks to his left. Decides to carry. Stops along the boards. Gives it to Lemieux. Lemieux trying to work in. Oh, the drive. And off Barrasso. Hits the blade of his stick and up into the crowd.
Now, was that Tom Barrasso or Mike Ramsey? It was pretty hard to tell, but what a play by Mario Lemieux. He just waits and waits as we'll pick it up here from the replay. Now, watch in front of the net as Lemieux tries to put it across to Shetton. I think that was Mike Ramsey with a great defensive play to tip that puck up over the glass. Here's a better look at it. And you see Shetton all ready to shoot the puck into the net. And it's tipped up over the glass by the Buffalo defenseman.
4:12 after the second period. Sabres, including tonight's game, 3 of their next 4 games on the road. They'll be at home on Friday night against Quebec, into Quebec to take on the Nordiques Saturday night. That will be our next televised game on Channel 2, but not on Channel 31 in Rochester. The next game on Channel 31 in Rochester will come your way March the 11th in St. Louis. And back to Mantha. Quick shot. Barrasso picks that one off.
You talk about the Sabres in a difficult schedule as we look at Tom Barrasso with 20 shots on goal tonight. The Sabres, after tonight, will play 7 games at home, 11 on the road. Compare that to Hartford after tonight, 11 at home, 7 on the road. The Bruins, also 11 at home, 7 on the road. So the Sabres, if you go by home and away, have the most difficult schedule.
Alcier on the far side. Housley. He steps away from Frawley, but he falls down. Frawley moves in after it. Now Housley, checked from behind by Loney. They kick out at Housley, works it back into the other corner. White clearing it up on the left side for Sealing. He gets it off the boards into the Pittsburgh zone. Romano decides to hold on to that, forcing a face-off with 3:36 now remaining. Talk about games in hand going into tonight's action. Buffalo with 1 game in hand over the Boston Bruins, 2 games in hand over Quebec, and 1 over Montreal. Canadians playing later tonight in Vancouver.
Well, Paul Sear has turned a terrible first half of the year into a fine second half for Buffalo. Sear now with 16 goals, 26 assists, 42 points, and he has come on very strong. And playing the kind of hockey that Scotty Bowman and Craig Ramsey have been looking for him to play after being a #1 pick for the Sabres.
Doug Smith at center, and against Mike Bullard. Smith wins the draw, left point to Haidt. He shoots right on Romano. Going down, reaches up with the glove and snares that one.
Now watch in front of the net. Bill Haidt just maybe should have let this puck go a little bit sooner. As you see Mike Foligno crossing over in front of the net. And you see Romano with a good look at the shot by Bill Haidt.
On the draw, back to Haidt again with another shot. And it's knocked into the corner board. Smith comes up with it. Sabres need a goal to get back into this one late here in the period. Smith, quick shot. Romano the save on Smith, and it's cleared into the Sabres zone. Haidt going back to touch it, and Pittsburgh is called for icing with 3 minutes and 13 seconds remaining here in the second period.
Now look at Billy Haidt, who's made a couple of outstanding defensive plays again here tonight for Buffalo. He's a #2 player on the Sabres as far as plus-minus is concerned. A +23, 1 goal, 13 assists. And Haidt for many years has been among the most steadiest NHL defensemen.
For you people watching in Rochester tonight, don't forget the Rochester Americans will be in action this Sunday at home against St. Catherine Saints. 7:30 start at Rochester's War Memorial Auditorium. So take that game in. This Sunday night, Amherst against St. Catherine's. Here they come. They've got a 2-on-1. Chabot in over the line. The pass to Hannon, and it's called at the Buffalo blue line. Nobody could hear the whistle at all.
I'm going to assume that was just an offside as we look at Jean Chabot coming over from the Montreal Canadiens. He scored 2 goals in his first game as a Penguin from Summerside, Prince Edward Island. He was the Canadiens' 3rd-round draft pick in 1980, 40th player taken overall.
I haven't heard the official attendance here tonight, but it must be close to the 16,000 mark. Ooh, I guess I'm way off. 13,480. Well, we must have a lot of no-shows.
It's supposed to be snowing outside here. That kept some people home.
That's not right either. We have a lot of no-shows that it is Thursday. Now they go to the boards, and it's cleared in wide of the Buffalo net. And they get a whistle with 2:40 left here in the second period. Well, there's a lot of mannequins. That's what it is.
Yeah, that's right. They just set them up before the game.
That was like they did when they did the natural and the rock pile in Bubba. I saw the mannequins. There's the no-shows there.
The no-shows. Half of those are mannequins now. People there.
Pittsburgh 2, Buffalo nothing. Late in the second period.
Now it's been Mario Lemieux tonight has been the difference. Outside of Lemieux, this game has been very equal. Both teams, well, Pittsburgh with 20 shots on goal, the Sabres with 21.
Ruff chasing it into the Pittsburgh zone. He tries to clear it in front. He's checked by Johnson. Now Perro. Benfus hit after it. 4 of them to the corner boards. Comes back to Foligno. There's the pass to Perro. Deflected it at the side of the net. Now Foligno comes up with it again. Sends it back into the corner now for Ruff. He battles with Schmidt. Foligno moves in as well. He tries to get it free. Coming up with it is Chabot. Up to the line. The pass went off Perro. Now cleared. Schmidt misses it. Now recovered by Schmidt. Shoots it in the Buffalo zone. Barrasso leaving it for Housley. Long pass. Here's Foligno clearing it into the Pittsburgh zone. Went wide. Buffalo makes a change. Mantha. Now Chabot backhanded. And they get a whistle with 1:44 now remaining in the period.
Yeah, just watching down there tonight, Ted, this ice, either the ice isn't very good here at the Pittsburgh Civic Center, or the pucks aren't too well frozen because, my goodness, they're bouncing all over the place and very difficult to control. And Mario Lemieux with 2 goals tonight. Boy, he just absolutely shattered records in the Quebec Junior League with Laval in 83, 1984. 133 goals, 149 assists, 282 points.
And he has a 20-game scoring streak going right now. He's picked up a pair of goals here tonight. The puck is in the Buffalo zone. Shedden. Now it comes back to center. Mantha going after it. 1:23 left in the period. The pass to Lemieux at center. Slides it over to Ruskowski. Now to Shetton trying to break through. Ruskowski comes back, and here comes Gage down the right side. Looks for Tucker. Tucker had to put on the brakes at the Pittsburgh blue line as Gage fired it in. Andrechuk after it, kicked out by Ruskowski, but not out. Here's Andrechuk keeping it in. 1 minute remaining to play in the period. Around the glass. Cleared out by Shetton, but Englum is there to keep it in for Buffalo. Tucker moves into the corner. He gets it behind the net to Andrechuk. Back now to Tucker. Tucker goes to the corner. He lost it around to the left point, but it came off the boards at a weird angle, and Englum could not get it. Housley at his own line 40 seconds ago. Intercepted by Mantha. Shoots it into the Sabres zone. Barrasso scoops it out around the boards. Bullard, Sear, Smith that comes to center. 27 seconds to go. Gage into the Pittsburgh zone. Tried to drag it around. Buskus was unable to. Bodger the quick pass up to Frawley. Frawley now knocks it into the Buffalo zone. Bullard on the far side. 15 seconds to go in the period. Dropped it back now. 11 seconds. The shot. Barrasso the save. Housley the rebound. 7 seconds left. So the Penguins will go to the dressing room with a 2-0 lead over the Buffalo Sabres here after 2 periods. 21 shots overall for Pittsburgh, 22 for the Buffalo Sabres. But the Pittsburgh Penguins getting a good hand from the crowd here at the Civic Center. Their team goes to the dressing room with a lead over Buffalo. And so the score after 2 periods of play, the Pittsburgh Penguins 2 and the Buffalo Sabres nothing.
This is the Sabres Station, WGRZ TV2 in Buffalo. Our intermission guest will receive a Hellbros gift set featuring a men's gunmetal quartz watch, matching pen and pencil set, and a leather wallet from Hellbros, a new tradition in time.
So, you made a great deal on a new bedding set. Now you have to get it home. Chances are, if you can get that set delivered, there's a delivery charge. That makes your great deal a great deal more than you bargained for, especially when you have to put it together yourself. At City Mattress, once you buy from us, you're home free. We'll deliver your new bedding, set it up for you, even remove your old bedding at no extra charge. You see, when we promise you that City Mattress feeling, we deliver.
Sally, who took the yellow pages? Honey, have you seen the yellow pages?
No.
Susie, where are the yellow pages?
Sally had it last. I did not.
Come on, I need the yellow
Over the
pages.
years, one book has been in more homes, helping people throughout New York find more goods and services. The 9X Yellow Pages.
Mom.
It's always there when you need it.
Oh.
It's a certain book. It's an unforgettable sound. It's Miami Vice in stereo.
You're absolutely right.
Now you can find out what stereo TV is all about, because WGRZ TV Rock 102.5 FM and Burnham's are going to break the sound barrier once and for all. Friday, turn on WGRZ TV2. Tune in to Rock 102.5 FM.
I want you to take this number.
And lose yourself in a spectacular stereo simulcast of Miami Vice.
The Sabres came up with several pretty good scoring opportunities in the second period. Roberto Romano coming up with some very outstanding saves as the Sabres outshot the Penguins 15-13 in that second period. And after 2 periods, the Sabres have outshot Pittsburgh 22-21. But because of the incomparable Mario Lemieux, the Sabres trailed 2-0. Lemieux with both goals is 39 and 40th. The second one coming early in that second period on the power play as Foligno had gone off for slashing late in the first period. Lemieux had several other excellent chances. Barrasso came up with a couple terrific saves to keep him off the board, but he is definitely the difference in this game. The Sabres also not passing the puck as quickly as they would like, and I'm sure they'll try to do something about that in the third period if they're going to get back into this hockey game. They trail 2-0 after 2, and we'll have more of our second intermission coming right up.
Put
Put the winter blahs behind you and head for the open seas at the 86 Buffalo Boat Show. You'll see the best boats afloat right in the Buffalo Convention Center. Over 200 displays from sleek and sporty to big and beautiful, brought to you by 17 area dealers. And to put the wind back into your sails, we're giving away a vacation in Puerto Plata, Dominican Republic, courtesy of WGR and Rainbow World Travel. So forget the snow and sail into the sunset at the 86 Buffalo Boat Show.
We start with a thick, fresh-tasting fillet of sole. Then dip in light oriental wheat crumbs delicately seasoned. All you do is microwave for 3 minutes or bake for 20 minutes. And now you're ready to enjoy light-tonight dinner fillets from Highliner. 200 calories per fillet. And great value. Cod, Boston bluefish, haddock, and sole. At Highliner, we're so fussy about fish, we catch our own.
Every day you've got lots to do, and you need a wholesome dinner for each of you. It's McCain Light tonight. You must taste the fabulous fish amandine in a white sauce with tomato rice and asparagus. It's McCain Light Delight tonight. Or the chicken supreme in a savory sauce with rice pilaf and baby carrots. It's McCain Light Delight tonight. Surprise, surprise. These and all other Light Delight dinners are under 300 calories. McCain Light Delight dinners. It's McCain Light Delight tonight.
Growing up in the first ward in the Buffalo area isn't exactly what you would call a quick way to get to the National Hockey League, but E.J. McGuire did that. He is now the assistant coach of the Philadelphia Flyers. Very successful career for E.J. Here with a closer look at E.J.'s career, Jim Lawrence.
E.J. McGuire is a native of South Buffalo. His coaching career began in 1975 at Brockport State University. He also coached at the University of Waterloo and was Mike Keenan's assistant with the Calder Cup champions, the Rochester Americans, in 1982-1983. E.J. is now an assistant coach with the Philadelphia Flyers.
Well, as an assistant coach, I'm involved, and Mike has me involved in all aspects of the coaching program that we have. During a game, I'm upstairs and I'm in constant communication with the bench, and this year we've instituted a little bit of a PC, a personal computer, where we enter game data as the game goes on. On practice days, I'm on the ice working with individuals. That role has expanded a little more now that Ted Sater has moved on to the New York Rangers. And a lot of upcoming preparation for opponents. We pre-scout the team via satellite and via videotape, and we feel that our players coming in, even though the NHL schedule doesn't allow them to see a lot of our opponents, we feel that they're pretty well prepared for any nuances that an opposition can throw at us.
Does it involve a lot of paperwork?
A little bit. We analyze our own play against, in other words, we analyze after a game from videotape how well our pre-game plan worked against the opposition. So there's a little bit of paperwork and a little bit of analysis of how well we prepared our team to play the opposition.
What would you say your philosophies are as far as coaching is concerned?
Well, overall, Mike and I take sort of an educational approach, and it may be a different approach than if we inherited a veteran team, but the educational approach being that we want to get these kids schooled into the Flyers system, one which in the past has been synonymous with hard work. We've got a model that's now our general manager who's synonymous with hard work in the game of hockey, and we'd like to continue that and, of course, continue the winning tradition in Philadelphia.
Is it hard to keep up with new things in hockey today, new methods of coaching? Do you spend a lot of time on that?
We do, and we often spend a lot of time at the summer hockey schools where there's a number of them presented over in Canada and some in the United States, where we exchange views and philosophies on everything from power play and penalty kill to motivation and things that aren't as readily apparent on the ice.
Mike Keenan and E.J. McGuire are two of the most innovative and dynamic young coaches in the game today.
I saw him at a summer hockey clinic prior to his first year with the Rochester Americans, and he said, "What's a good place, or what about Rochester do I need to know?" And what I did was, at the beginning of that year, said, if there's any help I can give you, it's a 15-mile drive from Brockport to Rochester. And he called me a couple times, and I ended up going in very often in the first year at the end of my practice to the Rochester Amherst games, and it evolved to the point where I was actually traveling with them during their Calder Cup year 3 years ago now.
One of the new frontiers in sport that is being explored is sports psychology. and EJ is implementing it among the Philadelphia Flyers as he studies for his doctorate degree.
Psychology and sport are a unique mix, and that whole area is just beginning to be developed. We feel in the phys ed or kinesiology programs that we're really honing down the physical side, that how many heartbeats and what you need to become a good physical player. We feel the last frontier is how the mind relates to your performance on the ice or on the court or on the field. So that's how do you motivate players? How do you identify certain traits in players who are going to be the players that you can go to in tough situations? All these little intangibles that we really haven't narrowed down is all part of sports psychology.
EJ thinks back to his days in South Buffalo and the impact the Sabres had when they came to town.
Oh, I feel they did. I think the interest level, you see more and more kids playing street hockey at this time, and I think that just the general awareness of the game of hockey and what a great sport it is really helped. And I know the Knoxes have put an emphasis on youth hockey and made it something to be proud of in this area.
Any particular vivid memories of South Buffalo?
Well, the vivid memories of playing street hockey in South Buffalo when hockey wasn't the thing. And it's just pleasant memories. I really think that the people of the First Ward, where the particular area where I came from, are a hard-working group, and I really think that I take a lot of my role models from those people in the area.
Your gentle face is my sunshine. Your growing world fills my life in little ways. You make my days. You are the sunshine of my life.
The new fresh taste of Old South Golden Select. 100% pure and natural. The sunshine of your life.
You are the sunshine of my life.
Old South.
Super Duper brings the prices down. This week, Joy Irregular or Thin Spaghetti or Rigatoni is not 59 cents, not 49 cents, but only 38 cents a 1-pound package. Make sandwiches and casseroles with Bumblebee Chunk-Light Tuna, only 55 cents. And smooth and creamy golden grain macaroni and cheddar dinners are 5 for $1. Super savings this week and every week at Super Duper.
The West, big country.
We spread our wings across the prairies.
From Vancouver,
Flying high, we do our best.
across the mountains and prairies,
We're Pacific Western Airlines.
all the way to Toronto.
We spread our wings across the West.
Ed Kilgore and Jim Lawrence in Pittsburgh. Penguins lead 2-0 after 2 periods now. Jim, the Sabres got the offense cranked up a little better in that second period, had 16 shots on goal, and all of a sudden we're noticing that Roberto Romano is not bad.
No, not bad. He's made a couple of outstanding stops for Pittsburgh, but you're right. The Sabres, I think, really took over the game in the second period. I said it during the play-by-play. The difference has been Mario Lemieux, of course. I mean, he has 8 shots on goal. He had 5 shots in that second period, but the Sabres are starting to come on. They've had their chances, and if they continue to persevere, I think that they can get back in this game.
Lemieux with a power play goal early in the second period. That was his 40th of the season. Here it is.
Oh, just a great play to come out of the corner. But the thing to watch is Tommy Barrasso. He goes down right here, and that just gives Lemieux, it's almost as if he just clicks a picture in his mind and shoots the puck. And you'll see it better from here. Now look at this. Just inside the goalpost as Tommy just dropped to his knees. If he had have held his position, I think obviously the shot may have hit him. But there are very few players in the league that would have done what Mario Lemieux did on that play.
Bullard and Frawley picked up the assists at the 138 mark, and then another sequence will show you just how dangerous number 66 can be.
Well, this is just a great piece of goaltending, though, by Barrasso. Watch this shot. Now Barrasso just stays with them with the right pad. The Sabres are going to end up, this will be Engblom, giving the puck away to Lemieux again in front of the net. Now watch this. This is a good piece of goaltending. Barrasso keeps his feet and forces Lemieux this time to shoot it up top, over top of the net. There was nothing there to shoot at. Lemieux was waiting for Barrasso to fall down, and he didn't fall that time.
Well, we talked about the job Romano's doing. Incidentally, I was told, Jim, that Romano, I guess, pulled a hamstring against the Kings here the other day, and so when he went down in that second period, he might have re-injured it, so we'll watch for that. But down at the other end, Barrasso doing a fine job, and he came up with a couple other tough stops.
Well, Barrasso, is an all-star goaltender. There's no doubt about that. But this one here, this puck is just going to bounce in front of the net, and you see good alert goaltending by Barrasso just to hold on and scoop it away for the face-off. But this is a good stop coming up in front of the net, just a good quick shot, and you see Barrasso with that right pad just flicking out there to kick the puck away. But as you mentioned, the Sabres are getting their chances back at the other end.
Well, the injury to Norm Lacombe, who fractured the jaw, that gives Jody Gage a chance to get some National Hockey League ice time, and he almost got his first NHL goal here.
Well, almost a carbon copy of the other night, but a good play by Housley to give him the puck. But on a play like this, it almost looks like he may have missed on the short side, but you have to get the puck up into the air, and I think that he was robbed last game against Washington by Jensen after Tucker set him up beautifully in front of the net, and he didn't get the puck up. And I think you'll see him the next time in a similar situation try to get the thing upstairs. And if he had been able to do that, he would have probably scored in that shot.
Jim, I know as a former NHLer, you've played with a lot of great guys against a lot of great players, but watching Lemieux develop, we saw him last year, but seeing him now, he just gets better and better. It's almost hard to describe how good he is or how good he can become.
It's really incredible, Ed. I was with the Boston Bruins in 1969-1970 and had the pleasure of playing with the great Bobby Orr, and he was just truly a great superstar. And if you look over the years in the NHL with Gordie Howe and, of course, Maurice Richard and now Gretzky and Lemieux and Gilbert Perreault, they are unique players. They're special, and it's just incredible the way they shoulder the responsibility, and that responsibility to go out and to play and perform every night. And every time I watch somebody like that, it reminds me of going to hear Barbra Streisand sing or Pavarotti. After they're through, you know that you've listened to something unique and something very special. It's the same feeling I get after watching somebody like Lemieux.
Well, that's right. I'm sure the Sabres would agree, but at another time, because they trail 2-0 because of Mario Lemieux. We'll have the third period coming up from Pittsburgh in a moment.
From News Center 2, here's Fred DeBrine.
Good evening. President Reagan began the campaign for his defense budget and aid to the Contras tonight. Exiled Philippine leader Ferdinand Marcos stepped off a plane in Hawaii today. It's not certain how long he will stay. In Buffalo, the annual school budget battle got off to a stormy start. And tonight after St. Elsewhere, what's ahead for the Southtown's shopping mall?
They've given you the advantage and only moments to make it count. There's no second best for you in the game you play or the beer you choose.
That's why you just say O-V for that great taste in beer. O-V, O-V, oh yeah, you just say O-V. Bring home all the names on the movie marquee. Record all the games you can't be there to see. With a new VCR for the whole family. Just call Granada.
Now you can buy it, lease it, or rent it from Granada, or use our convenient installment plan. And all Granada VCRs are backed by our famous Granada cover service.
Let Granada show you how to have it all and have it now. Call Granada today.
This portion of Buffalo Sabres hockey is brought to you by your Good Neighbor Chevy dealers. Discover the new world of today's Chevy at your Good Neighbor Chevrolet dealers. Dealers you can lean on. By Carlin O'Keefe, bringing the sports world home to you. And by M&T Bank, with 50 offices and 41 convenient Quick Bank locations. M&T Bank, we'll show you how.
After 2 periods, Pittsburgh leading 2-0 on goals by Mario Lemieux, his 39th and 40th of the season. Shots on goal in that second period. Pittsburgh 13, Buffalo 16. Buffalo with 22 shots overall, and Pittsburgh with a total of 21. Our next televised game will be seen on TV2 in Buffalo only as the Sabres travel to Quebec City to meet the Nordiques Saturday night. Game time will be 7:30, and our next televised game on the Sabres television network in Rochester will be March the 11th. The Sabres start their West Coast road trip. First stop will be St. Louis as the Sabres meet the St. Louis Blues. Game time from the St. Louis Arena, 8:30. And here we go with period number 3. On the draw, Mantha fires it into the Buffalo zone. Barrasso for Mike Ramsey around the glass. Comes back to the line, but kept in. On the far side, the pass to Lindstrom. Hannon in and goal. He scores! Dave Hannon. And the Penguins strike early in period number 3 to take a 3-0 lead.
Now the Sabres failing to get or move that puck out of their own zone. And the Buffalo defense out of position. You see Engblom just up a little bit too high, and watch Mike Ramsey. He commits himself, and the puck goes in behind to Hannon. Brasso waits for him to make a move, but he went down just a little bit too early, and the puck is lifted up over top of him. Just a bad, or excuse me, that goes in between his legs. I thought for a moment Hannon went up high, but just poor defensive play by the Sabres in their own zone, and needless to say, a big goal for the Penguins.
Hannon gets his 10th goal of the year. The Penguins have gone into a 3-0 lead, opening seconds of the third period. Smith comes back at center, stopped by Bonja, recovered by Foligno, swings it over the Pittsburgh line. He left it at the left point for Sear. Now recovered by Hike, gives it to Housley. That's Hannon from Lindstrom and Shabbat at the 14-second mark here in the third period. Bodger just tipped it back into the Buffalo zone, and Hike will go back after it. Sear now up to center to the Pittsburgh line with the shot. Romano got the right pad on that one. Schmidt clears it back to center. Now Fenfus with it. It's cleared into the Pittsburgh zone, right over the glass and into the crowd. Well, that really puts the Buffalo Sabres behind the 8-ball, Jim, and they needed a goal to get back into the game, and now they need a couple.
Yeah, particularly after the way they played in the second period. They appeared to be coming on very strong, but there's still plenty of time remaining here in the third. 18:53 to be exact. The Sabres now, you have to open up a little bit, and I'm sure they really don't want to do that, but if you're going to get back in the game, you have to take some chances.
Ramsey going in with a backhand shot, hit the side of the net. Schmidt bumps with Ramsey into the corner. Now Tucker reaches in. Lemieux sends it not out. Fenfus clears it right back in behind the Pittsburgh net. Ruskowski against Gage. Now Johnson attempts to clear it. Loose puck recovered. Schmidt at center. Shoots it into the corner boards into the Buffalo zone. Ramsey at the side of the net. Off the boards now for Tucker. Reaches for it. Could not get it. Ruskowski gives it to Lemieux. He cleared it in, but it's knocked over the line, and Andrechuk back now with Tucker to the Pittsburgh line. Takes the shot. Works in front. A good play. Romano kicked it away and in behind the net. Comes back to the blue line and over that Pittsburgh line. Alkidis, now Ruskowski. And Shedden just let it go back into the Buffalo zone as Pittsburgh will make a change. Rupp clears it on into the Pittsburgh zone. Romano clearing it to the corner. Mantha being chased in behind the net by Perro. They go to the corner boards. Now recovered by Cunnyworth. Up and in behind a Bullard. Alkidis turns at center ice. Now clears it off the boards. Romano missed it. Here's Foligno. Now back and recovered by number 26, Blaisdell. The pass to the right side. Here they come. Cunnyworth breaks towards the net. The drive. Barrasso the same. They score! On the rebound, Billy Siren. And the Penguins have taken a 4-0 lead.
And that's what I was talking about, Ted, about taking chances. And what happens? You're vulnerable at the other end, but Barrasso making a great save, unable to control the rebound, and the Penguins take that 4-0 lead. Buffalo getting caught in that Pittsburgh zone, and there's the rebound in front of the net and the shot by Billy Siren.
And it's 4-0 Pittsburgh. Siren gets his 3rd goal of the season. Now Housley at his own blue line. Skates to center, backhands it into the Pittsburgh zone up on that right side. Now Shabbat tries to get to it. It stops. He works it over to the blue line to Bodger. In for Willie Lindstrom. He one-handed to the far side, but Hamel up for Sear. Buskas takes over. Clears it back in. Housley stopping it at the side of the net. Works it up now for Doug Smith at center. He breaks to the Pittsburgh blue line. Into the corner. In behind the net. Hamel had it knocked off his stick. Recovered by Lindstrom. Ahead to Loney. Benfus. His pass intercepted by Simpson. Smith. Now comes back to Buskas at the Pittsburgh line. Loney takes over at center. He kicked it back to Bodger. Comes back to Loney. Now knocked away by Sear into the Pittsburgh zone. Now Buffalo makes a change.
Crowd yelling for a penalty. Paul Sear just flattened Loney back inside the Pittsburgh line, but they're not going to get one.
And some people are throwing some debris onto the ice and beverage cups and buckets in behind now the Pittsburgh net. Obviously, Ron Hogarth did not see the infraction. Now, here's Andrechuk trying to keep it in. Back to Andrechuk. Trying to get the shot. He did. Got it away. Bouncing puck. Romano holds on to that one. And now the sticks get up high. And with the score, Pittsburgh 4 and the Buffalo Sabres nothing early here in the 2nd period.
America's most popular luxury car can be found at your Good Neighbor Chevy dealers. Caprice. Why does the new 86 Caprice have the plushness of a Cadillac? Why does it have the creature comfort of a Cadillac? Because it's built at a Cadillac plant. One thing different is the engine. It's more powerful than a Cadillac's. And 3 things tell you it's a Chevy: the nameplate, the price, and the deals at your Good Neighbor Chevy dealers. Pick up a luxurious deal today.
This is what the crowd was yelling about here in Pittsburgh. Look at this. Sear just grabbing Loney by the head and just firing him down to the ice. And things really heated up in front after that scramble in the goal crease area, but Hogarth did not call any penalties. He obviously missed that. That was definitely an infraction on Paul Sear.
4-0 Pittsburgh as the Penguins try to make it an undefeated situation in the 3-game series against Buffalo. They played it with 3 all-tie earlier here in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh winning by 3-1 out of Memorial Auditorium.
This line of Dave Andrechuk, Tucker, and Gage again seeing a lot of ice time tonight. Sabres going predominantly with 3 lines, as are the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Siren from Cundyworth and Bullard at the 2:38 mark as the Penguins have scored 2 goals within a span of 2:38. Gage with a drive. He scores! The puck's inside the line.
Well, they're going to get an argument now. Sure they are. But that puck was in the net before the whistle blew. And the Penguins are claiming, Ted, that the whistle blew before the puck went over the line.
Well, the puck was in there. Ron Hogarth was standing in the corner. The other side, I don't think he saw the puck at all. The whistle had gone, and then the puck was in the goal. Let's take a look at it here. Hard to tell when he blew the whistle.
Watch this puck. Now, Jody Gage lets the shot go, and there you see the puck going in between the legs and right in across the goal line. There's no question about that. But then Hogarth was parked over to the right of Romano, and he didn't really make the call until he came in behind the net and he saw the puck in the net. But there's no doubt that that was a goal. The Penguins are arguing vigorously that the whistle had blown, but I think the puck was in the net before the whistle blew.
Ruskowski continues to argue with Hogarth.
Buffalo goal is 28 of the season, scored by number 25,
Dave Andrechuk gets the goal, his 28th of the season as the Sabres get on the scoreboard. Another $25 to his charity from the Delta Sonic people. Sheet Emergency Hospital, $800 going to that charity.
Jody Gage let the shot go. Obviously, it bounced in off of Andrechuk as we look at Bob Berry on the right and Jimmy Roberts giving that gum a good workout on the left.
Gage gets an assist. Tucker an assist at 4:22. And it's 4-1 Pittsburgh. The puck comes back into the Pittsburgh zone. Now taken by Johnson around the far side. Cleared, but not out. Left point kept in. Here goes Gage in behind the net. He centers it to the side. The shot by Tucker as he spun around and let the drive go wide. Hannon at center. Broken up by Fenfus. Cleared by Schmidt. Andrechuk has it. He lost it. Hannon comes back now to the Buffalo line. He tried to get it in. Tucker turns up the ice for Buffalo into Pittsburgh territory. Dropping it back. The shot by Andrechuk went wide into the corner. Shabbat working it to the line, but not out. It's kept in. Here's Tucker with it. Slides it through. Andrechuk. Quick drive. And Romano got the pad on that one. On that quick snap shot by Andrechuk. And a fine save by Romano.
Boy, was it ever, but what a good play by Dave Fenves to keep that puck in at that Pittsburgh line.
Now the pass goes off the back of Lindy Ruff at the Pittsburgh blue line, and they whistle it down.
You see the Penguins still arguing about that goal. Now as Mantha skated over, he's still now having words with Ron Hogarth. Gilbert Perreault with a couple of chances tonight, desperately trying to score 499 and number 500. What an illustrious, brilliant career for Gilbert Perreault.
Now Siren stopped at center, but he knocks Polito down. Cunnyworth fires it in wide. The puck comes all the way back to the Pittsburgh line. Blaisdell trying to work it off the boards. Gets it over the line. Polito has to wait for Perreault and Ruff to come onside. Alkeida slashes it off the boards into the Pittsburgh zone. Polito now giving it to Ruff. The shot that goes through the goal crease and into the Sabres zone. Alkeida playing back on defense now with England. Trying to step away from Cunnyworth. Shoots it to center. And nobody's going to touch it now. It's whistled down. 14:01 left in the third. 4-1 Pittsburgh. You're watching Buffalo Sabres hockey.
You're a part of the music. You got your own kind of tune. When the workday is over, you get the music inside of you. Bring your birthday self right here. You've got the time, we've got the beer. For what you have in mind. Come on, it's Miller time.
The clean, smooth taste of Miller High Life. That's Miller time.
6 minutes have gone by here in the third period. Pittsburgh 4, Buffalo 1. Andrechuk scoring a few moments ago to put Buffalo on the scoreboard. Hamel stopped by Bodger. Now it comes back to Housley. He clears it in. Romano tried to block it side of the net. Here's Hamel trying to move it in front. Checked by Busquets. Here's Hamel with it. In front to Housley. Shoots. And it hit someone in front of the net. Did not get through. And Housley takes over and works it right back to the Pittsburgh line. Bodger backhanding it, but Housley knocked it down. Here they come again back into the Pittsburgh zone. A drop pass. A pass in front intended for Smith. Wide. Cleared by Loney to center. Pike. It's knocked down, but with a high stick.
Another fine opportunity by Phil Housley in front of the net. Just a point-blank shot after good forechecking by Gilles Hamel. And watch this in front of the net. That was a great stop. Actually, the puck did get through, I think, in front. It looked as if it may have gone off a defenseman, but I think Romano was there to make the save. Just good anticipation by the Pittsburgh goaltender. You saw by that shot he was just in the absolute perfect position to make the save. So we look at Coach Bob Berry in behind that Pittsburgh bench.
He and Jim Roberts, they must go through an awful lot of bubblegum cards. It's cleared.
They really give it a workout. The two of them.
Tucker. It comes back to the line. Fenfus for Ramsey. Cleared it to the side. Romano holding on to that one.
Now Dave Fenves is shaking his head, and I know exactly what he's telling Mike Ramsey. Look, I made a bad pass and put that puck across. And what they wanted was Mike Ramsey just wanted to step into it. Watch it again. And he just had to end up backhanding it in front of the net.
Minnesota now leads Hartford 5-1 in the second period.
Ramsey back a by, and he shoots. And it goes over the glass and into the crowd. The Devils leading the Islanders 4-2, and the Pittsburgh Penguins are up to 5-2 now, Ed?
Yep.
Win here for Pittsburgh, and they'll move to within 1 point of the Islanders should the Devils hold on to that lead, and Pittsburgh holds on to this lead.
The Sabres are really teeing off here in the third period, but unable to beat Romano. They have fired 29 shots on goal. Pittsburgh with 24. Been all Buffalo the last 5 minutes.
Perreault back on the ice for Buffalo with Rupp and Foligno on the wing. On the draw now, Rupp moves into the corner. Tried to send it back into the corner boards, and it's tipped away by Ruskowski. Englund chases it back deep into the Buffalo zone, and Pittsburgh is called for icing. Well, John Tucker and Dave Andrechuk have extended their point-scoring streaks to 6 games. Tucker 4 goals, 5 assists, and Andrechuk 4 goals, 5 assists as well.
Here's another look at Doug Shedden playing the right wing with Mario Lemieux. Boy, you play wing with him, you get around in front of the net, you just put your stick on the ice because he's going to put it on your stick. But Shedden, an outstanding season with 31 goals for the Penguins.
I don't know how long they have played together, but the line of Lemieux, Ruskowski, Shedden combining for a total of 88 goals. 90 goals now. On the draw now, the puck into the Pittsburgh zone, cleared over the blue line. Now Blaisdell trying to get away. Blaisdell after the loose puck, but knocked away by Englund at the last moment. Mike Bullard sends it in behind the Buffalo net. 12:25 left in the third period. 4-1 Pittsburgh leading. Foligno. The pass to Perreault at the blue line, cleared by Siren, recovered by Halkitis. He has stopped, lost it to Bullard. Here he comes with Blaisdell. Bullard going right in and goal. The pass, the rebound comes back for Foligno. Knocked it away. Rupp now at his own line. Skates to center to the Pittsburgh line. He is stopped, tipped away by Mantha. Here come the Penguins 3-on-2. The pass over to Bullard. Right in on goal, and he tripped up and goes down to the ice, fell down, and slides into the side of the Buffalo net. This reminder, you can go to the phone right now, order tickets for Sabres' remaining home games. You can use your MasterCard, Visa, or American Express. And by the way, people will be standing by right through to the end of this game. And season ticket holders, the deadline for picking up your playoff tickets, March the 14th by mail, March the 21st by coming down to the auditorium ticket office.
I was going to remark how well Pittsburgh is standing up at their own blue line, and this is a direct result of that. A partial breakaway by Bullard, and looks as if he was hooked to the ice there by Brian Englund.
Housley over the blue line, comes to center. Now back to the Pittsburgh line, winding up with the drive. Shot that one wide. Romano clears it into the corner. Simpson in after it. Up on that right side. Now comes Deloney, races after it at center. Into the Buffalo zone with the shot that goes off. Housley and up into the crowd. 4-1 Pittsburgh, and you're watching Buffalo Sabres hockey.
Getting my college degree. All I had to say was, okay, M&T, show me.
Moving in was easy.
We just said, okay, M&T, show us.
Now I can work out at home. Because I said, okay, M&T, show me.
A few years ago, M&T got me started in the trucking business.
M&T will show you how.
Now I've got 20 trucks covering 4 states because I said, okay, M&T, show me.
Ted Darling with Jim Lorenz and Ed Kilgore back at the Civic Arena in Pittsburgh. Penguins hold on to a 4-1 lead. Lemieux at center against Doug Smith. Hamel at center ice. Broken up at center by Shedden, who sends it back into the Sabres zone. Height. Doug Smith, the pass to Housley. At center, up to the Pittsburgh line. It dropped it to Sear. The slap toe hit the goalpost. Sear wrapped that one off the goalpost, low along the ice. Here comes Lemieux at center. Out of the Buffalo blue line. He dropped it back between the legs, but it's recovered by Hamel. Starts up the ice to the Pittsburgh line. Schmidt. Now Doug Smith takes over into the corner. Looking, the pass comes over to Mike Ramsey. He clears it to the corner. Paul Sear. Almost with the second goal of the game for Buffalo, but he shot that one off the goalpost on the glove side of Romano. Memphis keeping it in. Now Smith sends it behind the net. Waiting for it is Rupp. Tried to give it to Hamel. Into the corner. Smith goes after it. Now back in behind the net again. Rupp's in there. It's taken by Jim Johnson. He worked it, but not out. Ramsey clears it off the glass. Ruff tried to get to it. Johnson. Now here's Smith. And Lemieux comes back to take over for Pittsburgh. Off a skate, but it's kept in now. Here's Ruff with the long shot. Romano sliding over to make the save. Now Sealing trying to work it in front. It's tipped away by Ruskowski. Back to the Buffalo blue line.
Well, Sabres certainly control things, but just unable to finish off around in front of that net.
Chabad in over the line now with Hannon. There's the slap shot. Barrasso going to the knees to make the save. Sealing up on the left side. Now Ruskowski, Chabad in the far boards. He goes down to the ice. Mantha, the pass to Hannon. He falls down after being hit by Ramsey. Perro on for Buffalo, but out's recovered by Willie Lindstrom. Waits for some help. Decides to go to the corner. Takes it right behind the net. He's hauled down. There will be a penalty to Buffalo. The Penguins will go to the power play when we return to the Civic Arena. 4-1 Pittsburgh. You're watching Buffalo Sabres hockey.
America's most popular luxury car can be found at your good neighbor Chevy dealers. Caprice. Why does the new 86 Caprice have the plushness of a Cadillac? Why does it have the creature comfort of a Cadillac? Because it's built at a Cadillac plant. One thing different is the engine. It's more powerful than a Cadillac's. And 3 things tell you it's a Chevy: the nameplate, the price, and the deals at your good neighbor Chevy dealers. Pick up a luxurious deal today.
Now Pittsburgh back on the power play as Dave Fenves right there with the left arm just grabs the Penguin forward, and he's gone. 2 minutes for holding.
Jim, there you talk about a lot of people coming down to watch this game. There are people in Pittsburgh living in the Pittsburgh area from Buffalo. Randy Thomas from Buffalo is a public relations student at Duquesne University, working up here in the press box. And Neil Geyer would like to say hello to his parents, Frank and Margaret, back in Buffalo, and he's running the tape replay here for Unitel, handling our broadcast back to Buffalo tonight.
You see Buffalo now killing this penalty. They're going to have to take offensive chances to try and score a goal against Pittsburgh, trailing 4-1.
Ruskowski. Lemieux at center. Now to the Buffalo line. He gets it over for Shedden. Hike behind the net. Around for a waiting Lemieux. Let it come back to the right point. There's a long shot off Shedden. The drive. Barrasso the save. The rebound. Another save. And Barrasso covers up. Why is it Lemieux looks like he's always in slow motion, yet he gets the job done?
Well, I'm talking to Jimmy Roberts about that before the game, and he's mentioning the fact, he says, believe me, he said he can skate. And he showed it the other night as we look at the replay. A good save by Barrasso. Making a couple of saves and then covering up in the rebound. But he is so deceptive, so big, and he takes those long strides. And he's moving a lot faster than you really think he is. But he is so cool with the puck. Nothing seems to rattle him, and very seldom does he make the wrong play.
Now Lemieux at the side of the net. Here's the drive. He scores! Power play goal, Mike Bullard. And the Penguins go into a 5-1 lead.
And what a season Mike Bullard is having for the Pittsburgh Penguins. That's goal number 37, his 15th on the power play. And Lemieux to Bullard, he just moves out of the corner. And right here, Barrasso commits himself. And as soon as he does that, Bullard takes another stride and then just slips it between his glove and his goal pad. Watch it. Barrasso just failing to cover up, and the Penguins with a commanding lead.
And Bullard has a 4-point night. 1 goal and 3 assists. And the Penguins are 2 for 3 in the power play. Now it comes back the line. Tucker takes over. 8:37 left to play here in the 3rd period as it's cleared over the glass and into the crowd here at the Civic Arena. A very happy crowd, as you see, with the Pittsburgh Penguins and their fans enjoying the season so far.
And Mario Lemieux has a goal and an assist on the power plays. We look at Jody Gage, and that breaks a record, a club record for the most power play points. Rick Keyhole held it at 50.
Here now is Frawley sending it in front. The drive blocked. A back shot by Simpson, but it's still kept inside the line. Simpson going to the boards. Tucker after him. That's cleared back into the Pittsburgh zone. Going back after it, Jim Johnson. Watched by Gage. Sends it to the corner, and Andrechuk takes it. Try to move it in front of the net. He did, right to the goal crease. Floaty now. Gage is in there. Johnson to the corner. Clearing it into the Buffalo zone. Ramsey now giving it to Tucker, ahead at center. Gage to the Pittsburgh line. His pass went off the skate. Loney. Now the puck into the Sabres zone. Halkitis going back to retrieve it. The pass up on the left side. Englund skates to center. Ends it in off the glass as Barrasso had broken his stick, and he put the stick on top. And they score at the other end. Gilles Hamel. And the Sabres get their second goal of the game, and it's 5-2 Pittsburgh, still with a 3-goal lead.
And a great shot by Gilles Hamel as he alertly jumped on that giveaway in the Pittsburgh zone and then just beat Romano to the stick side. And the Sabres make it 5-2, but a good quick wrist shot by Gilles Hamel. The Sabres, with 7:31 remaining, are trying to stage a rally.
Boy, it's lucky we got a replay. I was looking at the stick at the top of the Buffalo net. Barrasso had broken his. Now here's Sabel with it. Honeyworth ran into Halkitis. Sear with a blast, and off the right arm of Romano, and he reaches up to hold on. 7:17 left to play here in this third period. 5-2 Pittsburgh leading.
Well, they call him Rambo, Bob Halkitis, and he likes to rumble and roll out there, take people out. He's a very physical defenseman, and getting an opportunity to play. Went through a stretch of games there, I think, 7 or 8 games, Ted, where he didn't even dress. But lately, Scotty's been fitting him into the lineup, both as a forward. He's played more in defense tonight, and he's played well tonight.
Now Shabbat on the draw against Smith. Into the corner, cleared behind the net. Comes over the Pittsburgh blue line. Englund up on the left wing for Paul Sear. Head to Smith to the Pittsburgh line. Trying to get it by. Sear runs in. Now to Siren, and it's tipped away by Lindstrom to center. Now Chabot waiting for it. Lost it. Sear fires it right back into the Pittsburgh zone. Romano leaving it. Siren around the boards. Hannon trying to get it. Hamel is there as well. Now Mantha takes control. Off the glass, up in the right wing to Lindstrom. 6:35 left to play in the third period. Back with it is Smith. He clears it to the corner boards. 5-2 Pittsburgh leading. Siren as Buffalo makes a change. Perro comes back on now. To Lindy Rupp. Now cleared back into the Pittsburgh zone. Siren going back after it. It's played by Romano up on the boards now, but it's kept in. And Rupp could not glove it down. Mantha, the pass up on the right side. Missed by Lindstrom, goes wide of the Buffalo net. Barrasso plays it now, and Pittsburgh again makes a change. As it shot back into the Pittsburgh zone, Buffalo will be called for icing, and the score, Pittsburgh 5, Buffalo 2. You're watching Buffalo Sabres hockey.
A reminder to our viewers that Black's Magic will be joined in progress, followed by St. Elsewhere in its entirety. That's immediately after tonight's hockey game.
Face-off into the left of the Buffalo net. Here's Sealing with it on the far side. Shoots it into the Pittsburgh zone. Johnson clears it over the glass and into the crowd. And there's a souvenir. A young man from the Pittsburgh area.
Oh, you don't know his name?
No, I don't.
Oh, not this time.
I don't know where he's from. He's got me.
Now, Lindy Ruff playing up front tonight, and Scotty's shifted him around, playing him primarily with Gilbert Perreault. When you look at that Buffalo bench, Jim Pizzatelli, along with Craig Ramsey. Pizzatelli, of course, the trainer of the Buffalo Sabres.
Shaved his mustache off at one point. He's got it back on again. I think it's a paste-on one. Face-off into the left of the Pittsburgh net. Tucker. And Chabot. Gets it back. Housley at the line to the far side. Polito took a whack at it. Missed it. Now Chabot with it. Flipping it off the boards, but not out. Kept in. Here's clearing it. Again. Now just over the line. And Chabot. Now Housley. Right back to the Pittsburgh line. Polito let a drive go, and that one hit Johnson as it's cleared into the Sabres zone. Housley in to touch it with a skate, and Pittsburgh is called for icing. We now pause 5 seconds for station identification. This is the Sabres Television Network.
This is the Sabres Station, WGRZ TV2 in Buffalo.
Now, there's a look at number 18, Craig Simpson. He was a number 2nd overall draft in 1985, 6 foot 295 pounds. Played for the Michigan State University, a native of London, Ontario. First team All-American in 1984-85.
Face off in Pittsburgh territory, 5:25 remaining in the third period. Penguins holding on to a 3-goal lead.
You see Mike Foligno out there playing right wing as Scotty's trying to get some scoring power and hopefully get back in this game again.
Hike misses the puck at the left point, has to chase the rolling puck back into the Buffalo zone. Working it off the boards. Foligno against Chabot. Chabot chasing it. Height in there as well. And Hike knocked it away, but it's kept in by Henn. Not recovered by Tucker. Cleared it high into the air. Over the glass into the crowd on the far side. The crowd of over 13,000 here tonight watching this game.
There's Dave Andreychuk getting credited for Buffalo's first goal. Jody Gage let the shot go. And big Andreychuk is deflecting it in by Roberto Romano. But you look at this Pittsburgh team, and I mentioned the fact that defensively they have improved considerably. You watch them tonight. They have a in defense, Ted, but they very seldom get themselves caught out of position, and that's something that they really had to work on. As we have Lindstrom now having words with Doug Smith before the faceoff. But last year, players like Bodger, he was getting caught 2-on-1, pinching in at the wrong time, but he credits Jimmy Roberts with really settling him down, and that entire defense has played well.
Sear tipped it into the Pittsburgh zone. He bumps in there, loose puck in front of that and cleared away by Lemieux. Englund will go back after it. Gives it to Halkitis. Now Lemieux at center. Mario Lemieux with a pair of goals denied. Looks like there's going to be a penalty coming up here. Sear will go to the penalty box. Paul Sear, with 8 goals in his last 11 games coming into this contest tonight. But we've got Ruskowski now and Sear. And they are flailing away. And Ruskowski was quoted in today's paper as saying, "I let Mario Lemieux do his job. If anybody goes after Mr. Lemieux, I'll be there to try and help out." And that obviously is what he's doing right now and trying to send the message to the Sabres, Mr. Sear.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about earlier with Ruskowski. He's sticking his nose in there, and that's part of his job, as you mentioned, Ted, to look after number 66. As we look at Sear getting the elbow up on Lemieux, and there was a retaliation from Lemieux, but nothing called on that one. But Ruskowski, he's the guy that looks after Lemieux, or one of them anyways.
Penalties coming up with 4 minutes and 41 seconds left here in the third period, and Pittsburgh leading by a 5-2 score.
That's a hard one to figure out, isn't it? Talking about Ruskowski, of course, he was the captain for the Los Angeles Kings last year, and he was after a little bit of security for himself and his family. He wanted a 3- or 4-year contract. The Kings offered him just 1 year plus an option. The Penguins came along, offered him 2 years plus an option, and he took it. And LA lost a pretty good hockey player, and really the heart and soul of a dressing room. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Roughing, 5 minutes for fighting. Time of the penalties, 15-19. Sear, 2 for high sticking.
Well, Sear gets 2 for high sticking, 5 for fighting. Now Ruskowski gets 2 for roughing and 5 for fighting as well.
There's a look at Bob Perry. We're talking about him a little bit earlier. Played 10 years as a professional player, 7 years in the NHL with the Los Angeles Kings, 159 goals, 350 points. He began his professional coaching career with the Kings, spent 3 years there. He coached the Montreal Canadiens for 3 years there, and this is his second year coaching the Penguins.
5-2, Pittsburgh leading. Puck at the side, Foligno into the corner. The pass gloved down by, here goes Halkitis and Loney. Bob Halkitis. I think it's Halkitis.
Yeah, it's Halkitis and Loney.
Well, Halkitis can handle himself.
Oh, yes.
What? Loney fired a left, and Halkitis had just dropped his head at the last moment after the linesman had tied them up, and he just fired that left right over the head of Halkitis. Things are getting rough late here in the third period.
Now, Troy Loney certainly handled himself pretty well also against Bob Halkitis. Loney was 74 minutes in penalties. And now both players, I'm sure, will be escorted to the dressing room as you see Loney on his way, and there goes Halkitis.
Rambo makes his way to the dressing room.
Let's see what happens. Well, there's a left that caught the Shakti. The referee, that was a left by Loney. And right on the honker, it looks like. Oh boy. You think being a linesman in the NHL isn't a tough job? Boy, oh boy.
And it's 5-2 of Pittsburgh with 4:28 left here in this third period.
M&T's.
Yes, sure.
Certainly. No problem loan means it's easy to get a...
Yes.
On any type of loan.
Car loans? Sure. Home improvement loans?
Certainly. Even vacation loans. Plus, at M&T, you get low payments you can afford. Our last word on loans is...
No. No problem. We'll do it by phone.
Talk to M&T today.
M&T will show you how.
Dan Shakti has gone for repairs. Oh boy, you see Loney with that left hand just caught Shakti flush on the nose. And he's gone for repairs, so it'll be Hogarth along with Vines remaining on the ice.
Face off over the Buffalo blue line. Aparo slides it back to Housley. Over the line at center now. Shooting it into the Pittsburgh zone. Waiting for it on the far side. Dan Frawley. He falls down, and the puck comes back to center. Housley. Penguins with a 3-goal lead. 4 minutes to go in the third period. Buskets waiting for it at his own blue line. Now Frawley. Recovered by Foligno. Here he comes into the Pittsburgh zone. Offside call as Perro is in offside on the left wing.
Yes, Mike Foligno just making that extra move, that lateral move at the blue line, and now Perro's questioning Mark Vines and saying there's no way when it went in across that blue line. But Vines certainly thought so. Foligno just making an extra move. Okay, you have to be impressed, Ed, the way Pittsburgh has played tonight. Of course, anytime you have a weapon like Mario Lemieux and your defense is playing as well as they are, you're going to win some games.
Mike Ramsey in behind the net. Round to the far side. It comes back to center. Buskus. He clears it in wide. After it goes Mike Ramsey. To touch it, and the Pittsburgh Penguins are called with 3:35 remaining here in this third period.
Here's a look at Ron Buskus. 112th pick in 1981. Last year was his first complete year in the National Hockey League. He was second last year in penalty minutes with 191.
Face off into the right of Romano. Don't forget Super Sunday, by the way. Western New York's 4 area high school hockey league champions will again be crowned at Memorial Auditorium. The second annual Super Sunday, March the 9th at the Odd. Here now it's Housley moving in on goal, backhanding it in. Oh, Romano.
How did that stay out?
It seemed to roll right over the top of his shoulder. Looked like it was going in, and that backhand shot by Housley. And now Ramsey back in his own zone. Up on the right side, gives it to Gage. Feeds it over to Tucker. Winds up with the drive. Shot that one over the crossbar and off the glass. Handed in behind the net. Up on the right side. Lindstrom with Shabbat at center. He just flipped it into the Buffalo zone where Housley takes over. Tucker dropped it back to Height. Up in the right wing. Now for Gage. Sends it on into the Pittsburgh zone with 2:55 left here in the third period. 5-2 Pittsburgh leading. Schmidt. Lindstrom clears it. Fenfis. Now the pass back into the Pittsburgh zone. Comes right back to the Buffalo line. Height. Frawley trying to get to it. Ruff is there, and Lindy Ruff has been injured. Lindy Ruff took a stick at the Pittsburgh blue line. It certainly was accidental.
Now, it looks like he may have taken it right in the windpipe.
Jim Pizzatelli, the trainer, going out quickly to administer first aid to Lindy Ruff, who took the stick, as Jim mentioned, looked like in the throat area.
Now, Lindy immediately went down to the ice, just back inside that line, and I don't think there was a penalty called on that one either. See if we can pick it up on the replay. You see Ruff. Well, it's pretty hard to tell, but Ruff's still down on 2 knees, and he seems to be okay, as Jim Pizzatelli out there attending to him. The Sabres in jeopardy of losing a season series, the Pittsburgh Penguins, and they have not lost a season series since the 1978-1979 season. Watch this opportunity by Phil Housley. Great puck handling again. He has played another fine game for the Sabres, just moving in. Now watch, he's going to go to the backhand, try to put it upstairs, and the puck just rolls around down over the back of Romano. It doesn't go in the net.
2:25 left to play in this third period. Mantha in behind the net. There's the pass. Knocked down by Simpson into the Buffalo zone. Penfus going back to touch it, and Pittsburgh is called for racing. Well, the Pittsburgh Penguins here at home have lost just one of their last 12. It appears to be one of their last 13, with only 2:13 left in the period.
John Tucker and picking up an assist on Andreychuk's goal. So both Tucker and Andreychuk have extended their point scoring streaks to 6 games, both with 4 goals and 5 assists.
Now Shabbat in at center against Doug Smith. Sabres will be at home on Friday night against the slumping Quebec Nordiques. Here's Ramsey. Quick shot right on. Romano gloves that. The Nordiques have lost now 5 in a row, and they are having their problems defensively. They've had some injured players, a defenseman out of the lineup, although I understand Randy Moeller's back.
Now, Pat Price is out of the lineup. He had an appendectomy, and Norman Rochefort, probably their best defenseman, may be lost for the rest of the season with a separated shoulder, so they have been devastated back of the blue line.
Lost by Buffalo tonight will leave them 3 points back of the Boston Bruins. Housley. The Bruins had a pretty good road trip, winning 4 and losing 3. Beating Edmonton, Vancouver, Minnesota, and Quebec Nordiques last night. Now Simpson stopped at the line. Housley into the line, but he lost control. Frawley, he sends away. Greg Simpson into the Buffalo zone, stopped at the line. Right back with it is Doug Smith with 1:35 left to play in the third period. Habel. Back to the blue line. Now Height works it in behind the net. Lindstrom on the far boards. At center. Shooting it in now to the Buffalo zone. Coneyworth goes to the corner. Tried to center it. Came off a skate. Back to the left point. Foligno left it there for Doug Smith. Now they go to the corner boards. Foligno getting it back in behind the net. Ruff with 1:05 left to play. You'll hear the cheers come up in a moment when they announce 1 minute to go in the game. The third period at least. Now it's cleared back into the Buffalo zone. A whistle at the Buffalo line with only, I believe, 53 seconds remaining. A couple of lights are out on the clock.
Now Lindy Ruff back on the ice after being felled back inside that Pittsburgh line. The Pittsburgh Penguins just with an outstanding effort here tonight. It was led by number 66, Mario Lemieux, with 2 goals and 1 assist. And he is a joy to watch. Well, the Sabres are going to have to regroup as they'll play a home-and-home series against the Quebec Nordiques Friday night at the Auditorium in Buffalo, and then back in Quebec on Saturday night, and you'll see it right here on WGRZ TV2 beginning at 7:35.
Now Barrasso leaving it for Engblom around the boards. Ruff. 4 seconds to go. Schmidt shoots it back in, and Barrasso playing it. Here goes Hannon. into the corner. Trying to slide it back, and Mario Lemieux has not been on the ice too much here in the third period. Jim, of course, they have a big game tomorrow night against the Rangers at Madison Square Garden.
Well, I'm sure that's the reason, absolutely.
He is resting. Ruff with 23 seconds. And the fans begin to clap. Now Height clearing it to center. 14 seconds left. The Buffalo Sabres mini winning streak of 2 games will come to an end here tonight at the Civic Arena in Pittsburgh. 5 seconds to go. Perro steps in over the line. The drive and off the arm of Romano, and that's it. The game's over. The Pittsburgh Penguins have defeated the Buffalo Sabres 5-2, and in doing so, won the season series against Buffalo. They win 2, and they play to 1 tie. And as a result, Pittsburgh with 67 points. And should the Islanders lose tonight, they'll move to within 1 point of the third-place New York Islanders and take a 5-point lead over the New York Rangers, a team they will meet tomorrow night at Madison Square Garden. And Mario Lemieux makes his way to the dressing room with 2 goals on the night, his 39th and 40th of the year. And the final score from the Civic Arena here in Pittsburgh, the Pittsburgh Penguins 5, the Buffalo Sabres 2.
Tonight's OB player of the game, no surprise, number 66 of the Pittsburgh Penguins, Mario Lemieux. Lemieux with a couple of goals tonight, also added an assist to lead the Penguins to a 5-2 victory over the Buffalo Sabres. And for being selected the OB player of the game, Mario Lemieux receives a 1-ounce Canadian Maple Leaf gold coin, courtesy of Carnegie O'Keefe, Brewers of OB.
This is the Sabres Station, WGRZ TV2 in Buffalo.
America's most popular luxury car can be found at your good neighbor Chevy dealers. Caprice. Why does the new 86 Caprice have the plushness of a Cadillac? Why does it have the creature comfort of a Cadillac? Because it's built at a Cadillac plant. One thing different is the engine. It's more powerful than a Cadillac's. And 3 things tell you it's a Chevy: the nameplate, the price, and the deals at your good neighbor Chevy dealers. Pick up a luxurious deal today.
Carlsberg Light.
All right.
People here
Say it's one good beer.
Carlsberg Light.
All right. Oh, that's nice. It's one real good beer.
Crack a cold one and you see why it's got that great light taste for me. Carlsberg Light. All right. Raise a cheer for good beer.
I have to put together a savings plan. Good idea. There's so many options. I don't know where to start. Talk to M&T. They can help. Help me? With everything? Money markets, CDs, IRAs. What about interest rates? Well, at M&T, I negotiate my own rate.
M&T will show you how. M&T will show you how.
You don't have to be young to be smart.
Although the Sabres lost this one 5-2, and that ended a very short winning streak of 2, they probably deserved a little bit better fate. Tremendous effort by Mario Lemieux offensively for the Penguins. Down at the other end, Roberto Romano came up with one of his best performances of the season. And as a result, 5 goals for the Penguins, just 2 for the Buffalo Sabres. In that first period, Lemieux came up with a goal that kind of had eyes. He was rather fortunate on the goal as he shot it near the boards, and it hit Housley and went past Barrasso, who never had a chance. It was 1-0. And here you're going to see that goal as it was dumped in, and Engblom trying to clear it, and Lemieux picked it off, shot it towards the net, and it hit Housley's stick, went in past Barrasso, and the Sabres found themselves down 1-0 in that first period, a rather tight checking period as the Sabres were outshot 8-6. In that second period, though, Lemieux came up with another one, a power play goal, and this one a very, very pretty effort on his part as he came around the near side. Watch Barrasso go down to the knees, and Lemieux hits that top upper part of the net there. That was his 40th goal. Here you're going to see it again. Lemieux comes out in front, and he just waits and waits, and then puts it the near side against Barrasso, his 40th. and the Penguins had a 2-0 lead. The Sabres coming on offensively in that second period actually outshot the Penguins 16-13, but they trailed 2-0 after 2 periods, and the real killer for the Sabres then was very, very early in that third period. As a matter of fact, at the 14-second mark, Hannon scored to make it 3-0, and after that the Sabres had to open up, and things just did not go their way. They had some chances, did not take advantage of them. Again, Romano coming up with some saves, Andreychuk finally scoring, and then Hamel got one unassisted, but by then the Sabres